Powered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 1025. The game streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Caroline Fenton is here today. How are you?
Hello, doing good. How we doing?
Fantastic. Ian Safari is here. How we doing, Ian?
What up, what up?
All right, so we got a lot of football news to get to. We got everybody losing their mind, and I don't know if it's rightly or wrongly or whatever, over the Titans making a passing game coordinator hire. Not sure why that's such a big deal, but apparently people think it's the move to save the Titans. So there's that. We'll get into that.
Move of the century.
Move of the century. Passing game coordinator. You have no idea what anybody on the coaching staff does, and people are going to be like, oh, yes, this is the savior. We'll get to that. But I want to start with this. So yesterday, we talked about the John Robinson comments in the Tennessean that literally made it everywhere. It made it to NFL.com. It made it to ESPN. It made it to First Take. It made it everywhere. We know Ryan's the quarterback. I don't know how many more times I got to say it. We know those comments. I honestly thought yesterday was like the end of the quarterback drama. That like at that point, now we're done. No more talking about the quarterback. We're all going to have to suck it up and live with the fact that Tannehill's the guy, and then we can debate whether or not Tannehill will actually be good next year or if he can win playoff games or whatever, or at least that we were going to get like a one-week thing until, you know, the Bengals win the Super Bowl, and then we could talk about the fact that the Bengals won the Super Bowl that should be your Super Bowl. But then all of a sudden, I'm listening to First Take, and Stephen A. Smith says, I don't give a damn what John Robinson says. But then I'm listening to Robbie and Rexroad this morning. By the way, congratulations to them, the 16th best show in America, morning show. So I'm listening to Robbie and Rexroad, and they were just going on and on and on about the quarterback and about Robinson and whether or not they thought Robinson was telling the truth, and if that means that there is going to be no quarterback to go get, or if that does mean that when Aaron Rodgers, if he tells the Packers he's not interested in going back to the Packers, that he would still be available. And they were going down every little nook and cranny, which, by the way, I love. And I thought, well, if Robbie and Rexroad are going to talk about it, because Joe was the one who yesterday was like, I'm done talking about Aaron Rodgers. If Robbie and Joe are going to talk about it, then that means that there is either some ambiguity to what Robinson said, or there's just a lack of belief in what Robinson said. So 2 questions to start today's show. 1, do we think quarterback is done, signed, sealed, delivered, no more talking quarterback because it's going to be Ryan Tannehill, and suck it up, move on? And 2, do we think Robinson's telling the truth? Because Robbie and Retro today were kind of insinuating that I'm not sure that they're convinced that he is.
I'm not 100% convinced. At this point, it feels like it's kind of done, but I'm not going to count out the fact that there could be something else in the near future that brings back this quarterback conversation.
But then it's not done, right?
I'm not willing to close the book. No.
Okay, so like that's kind of the thing I'm thinking here, right? Like, either it's done or it's not done. And so if it's done, but, or if it's done, but if, then it's not done. Is that really how we feel about this? And I will say this. Today, Nick Caserio, the general manager of the Texans, was asked, or I don't know if he was asked, he just said, I saw tweets, that he said that Brian Flores' lawsuit against the NFL had absolutely nothing to do with their hiring of Lovie Smith. Who buys that?
I absolutely do not.
And then when we were talking about it, you brought up that Denver hired Nathaniel Hackett, and Adam Schefter went on television and was like, this has nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers. This is all because the Broncos believe that Hackett is the leader of men to carry the Broncos forward, and we didn't believe that.
Like, how dumb do you think we are?
But that's what they're saying.
But I don't believe them. People say a lot of things.
Which takes us back to Robinson. Do you think quarterback's done for the Titans?
No, I don't.
Ian, do you think quarterback's done for the Titans?
I don't know. It sort of feels that way, but I'm never going to say never.
So then the question would have to be, what would it take to get Robinson to do a 180 on his comments and really look like a liar across the NFL? Like, I think there's some things where you lie about it, and it's like, Nick Caserio's lying about the fact that he obviously they got pressured for the second year in a row into hiring somebody to be their head coach that they don't want as their head coach. But everybody understands you got to say whatever, It's like one time the Titans played the Raiders, and the kicker missed, Janikowski for the Raiders, missed like 3 40-yard field goals, and the Raiders lost by 3 at the end. And Jerry Rice, who was the receiver for the Raiders, got up to the podium after the game and was like, look, I'm not blaming one guy. It's not about one guy. And it's like, Jerry, yes, it is. You know it is. But those are like allowable lies in the NFL. I don't think Robinson changing his mind at quarterback is like an allowable lie that people won't remember and think about for forever.
But I also don't think that it's like an abominable thing. Like it's the kind of thing where people look at John Robinson as a bad guy because he said that Ryan Tannehill was going to be the Titans quarterback, doubled down on it, and then eventually maybe changed his mind because a better quarterback option came his way.
Okay.
We'll remember it.
Okay. So
players will remember it.
Lay that out for me again.
I don't think that it's going to be where people look at John Robinson like he is a bad guy just because he doubled down on the fact that Ryan Tannehill was going to be the quarterback of the Titans and then changed his mind or walked it back because a better quarterback opportunity came his way.
Okay, so I would agree with you. There are people in life and in football, but especially football, that lie.
Oh, yeah.
But there are also people that lie that are not liars.
Yes.
But then there are people that are liars.
Yes.
Okay, so what you're saying is if Robinson is not telling the truth, if they end up turning around and trading Ryan Tannehill away and end up making a deal for another quarterback, preferably Rodgers, but I could live with Wilson, or, we'll get to a Brady at some point here today, because I don't know, you saw what he said, but
Brady Chronicles.
I mean, which is coming up, but I don't think, had this been last week, I don't think Robinson would have been a liar. I think after what he said in the Tennessean, that would make him a liar. Like, that would be that line of, like, you've fully crossed it. The Nick Saban, I don't know how many times I have to say it, I'm not going to be the next coach at Alabama. Line of demarcation.
But nobody cares that Nick Saban said that.
I mean, but every
time... It kind
time,
of gets buried under all of the other things that Nick Saban has said and done.
But every time it comes up whether or not, like, coaches lie, that's the thing that everybody references. So it's literally like casting a giant cloud over the entire coaching industry because Nick Saban went and lied about it. And then how does the rest of the roster feel about Robinson? But I would say again, if you get one of those guys, because I'll tell you right now, because I asked you, you said you think quarterback's still open. Mm-hmm. Ian, you think quarterback's closed?
It feels like it's kind of closed, yeah. But, I mean, I'm in the never say never, but it's feeling a little bit closed.
I think quarterback's closed too. Like, and maybe this is just the skeptic in me that's like, you never want to get your hopes up for anything. And I think you have now learned that I don't really get my hopes up a lot.
No.
So maybe it's me that just doesn't want to get my hopes up, that has convinced myself that Robinson is done at quarterback and that he truly believes, like, quarterback is closed in Buffalo.
Yes.
Quarterback is closed in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback is closed in
Cincinnati.
I was thinking of an NFC city. But Dallas. Quarterback is closed. It's closed in Baltimore, right? I think you're as closed as Baltimore.
I don't think the Titans are as closed as Baltimore. I still think that Ryan Tannehill is going to be the starting quarterback of the Titans, but I don't think that we're done with this quarterback saga of all of these rumors floating around. Now you got Kyler Murray rumors floating around. I wouldn't be surprised if that starts to become, in the rumor mill.
By the way,
Titans fans.
People have texted me. So when are you going to start your Kyler talk about what? I don't want Kyler. I have never been a Kyler guy. And I think Kyler is still at the point where you're either in or you're out, and I'm out.
I'm not willing to sell the farm for Kyler Murray. I'll do it for Aaron Rodgers, and I'll do it for Tom Brady.
Lamar was very much like a are you in or are you out guy. Mm-hmm. But I think now everybody's kind of in.
Yeah.
And like Herbert, I think everybody's pretty on Herbert. I'm out on Kyler. I'm still, but that's neither here nor there. Let's use Baltimore as the example. Mm-hmm. They are totally out. There is no talk about quarterback changes in Baltimore.
Nope.
I think the Titans are in the same spot as Baltimore.
I'm not there yet. Because what if John Robinson technically isn't lying? What if right now at this point Ryan Tannehill is the starting quarterback of the Tennessee Titans? doesn't mean that there can't be more things that change in the next month or so. I mean, you got 6 months until, I guess 5 months now, until Ryan Tannehill's cap hit is even cut in half.
So nothing can change for Baltimore, though?
Nothing can change for Baltimore, no.
Okay. Nothing can change for the Chargers?
Nope.
Nothing can change for Dallas?
Nope.
Nothing can change for the Rams?
No.
But they can change for the Titans?
I think so. I still think Tannehill's going to be the quarterback. But that's not to say that there might be more discussion about maybe a different quarterback down the line.
All right, let's get started. 615-737-1025. Your thoughts on it. Ian, I think, is probably a little bit softer on this than I am. Ian and I think quarterback is done, that it's over. No more talk about quarterback. Well, I shouldn't say that because we're going to talk quarterback.
Yeah.
But the idea that the Titans will change the quarterback is done. That it's like Baltimore, it's like the Chargers, it's like Buffalo, it's like Kansas City. It shouldn't be, but it is. That's where I feel like the Titans are. Caroline says, open given the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get your thoughts on that. 615-737-1025. And add another quarterback possibility for the Titans, maybe. We'll get to that one coming up next. Stillman & Company, we are delivered by TriStar Moving right here on ESPN 1025 The Game. Let me tell you about TriStar Moving. I moved with them a year ago, and I was so glad that I did it. A lot of people are saying, boy, TriStar Moving. We've seen them everywhere. We've seen them now on Twitter and on the Pat McAfee show and on TikTok and all these things I don't even use. And it's all over the place because they're our presenting sponsor. And I absolutely love them. When I moved with them over a year and a half ago, it was a great experience. And I'm telling you, it will be the same for you. I absolutely love TriStar Moving, and that's why their motto is TriStar Movers with 5-star service. From the initial phone call to the final signature, moving was a breeze. They also have a brand new state-of-the-art storage facility in Mount Juliet, so they take care of everything. Their owners, Garrett and Robert, are true Nashvillians, and their company is on the rise quickly because of the high standard they hold. If you're looking to move, give my friends at TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit their website at nationalmoving.org/radio, where they'll give you 5% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, nationalmoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you for 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers. Every Wednesday, it's me, Jared Stillman, against Joe Rexroad for Jared versus Joe. Brought to you by Parman Tractor and Equipment. Visit ParmanTractor.com, your Middle Tennessee link belt and Takeuchi dealer.
Get big game ready and score amazing deals at Electronic Express. Bring the action to your living room with 4K TVs from Samsung, LG, Sony, Hisense, TCL, and more. We've also got huge savings in every department. Computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, and more. The game wouldn't be complete without the food, so save up to 40% on all appliances with up to 36 months free financing. Electronic Express has what you need to get big game ready. We make it happen.
Genesis Diamonds has everything you need to create the perfect Valentine's experience. A romantic gift, some fresh flowers, chocolates, and dinner out on us. That's right. Genesis has put together the ultimate Valentine's package. When you buy any piece of jewelry for just $99 or more, we'll give you a bouquet of flowers from Jenny's Flowers, some yummy chocolates, and a gift card for dinner at STK Steakhouse. At Genesis, love and romance are what we do best. So we've created this amazing one-stop offer so you can spend quality time with the one you love this Valentine's. We've pulled together some wonderful Valentine gift ideas as well. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, affordable, timeless gifts she can enjoy for years. So bring the sparkle and the romance with one-stop shopping at Genesis. Spend just $99 or more with us and get the flowers, the chocolates, and a gift card for dinner as our gift. Happy Valentine's Day from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Limited quantity. See store for details.
When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics. If you have painful joints, arthroscopic surgery may be the cure to solve your pain. Arthroscopic surgery is minimally invasive and provides faster recovery time. The experienced doctors at Houston Clinic Orthopedics may be able to get you feeling back to normal with an arthroscopic surgery of your knee, shoulder, hip, elbow, wrist, or ankle. Each of the 10 locations in Middle Tennessee has an arthroscopic surgeon that can determine if this type of surgery is the best option for you. Visit tn.houston.com to learn more and to book an appointment. Houston Clinic Orthopedics. When experience matters.
Interact with Stillman & Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
you always liked Michael Jordan, and you had that poster on your wall, kind of your standard. He came back. Muhammad Ali came back. Mike Tyson came back. So inevitably, some quarterback's going to get hurt or not perform at the level, and it's going to start in July in training camp. It's going to go again in September and probably again in October and November. How are you going to entertain those thoughts, and would you ever consider that?
I'm just going to take things as they come. I think that's the best way to put it. And I don't think anything never, you never say never. And, at the same time, I know that I feel very good about my decision. So I don't know how it feels 6 months from now. It may change. It most likely won't. But, I try to make the best possible decision I can in the moment, which I did this last week. And again, I think it's not looking to, reverse course. I'm definitely not looking to do that. But in the same time, I think you have to be realistic that you never know what challenges there are going to be in life. And again, I love playing. I'm looking forward to doing things other than playing. That's as honest as I can be with you there, Jim.
Tommy, speak more clearly into the AirPods, please.
Yeah, it sounded like he was talking like underwater there.
Right. It was like, hey, I'm not sure I'll ever come back from football, but
well, cut him some slack. He probably can't afford a microphone.
I mean, Tommy, did you just do what I think you just did? By the way, that was Tom Brady on Sirius XM's Let's Go podcast, part of the Mad Dog Sports Radio channel. Great channel.
Great channel.
So, by the way, I think makes me and Brady coworkers now.
Sure, you can.
He doesn't have a job.
I'm not gonna burst your bubble.
He doesn't have a job.
I won't yuck your yum.
That thing is 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock on Sirius XM Friday, 6 o'clock Mad Dog Radio. I'm just saying. Now, what'd you make of that?
It's so non-committal.
Which, when you're non-committal 4 days after you just retired, isn't that kind of like
It leaves room for interpretation, and he says, "I might change my mind.
I mean,
probably won't, but I might."
We just spent 15 minutes talking about the Titans general manager who said something to knock down any idea of non-committality.
Uh-huh.
And sure.
Sure.
And he goes out there to say, and then we're talking about whether or not he's telling the truth. Brady retires last week. Then a week later, his first public comments since he retired, he says, look, I don't know what the future holds, and maybe 6 months from now I'll feel different. I probably won't, but I might feel different.
I mean, he's leaving the door open for a possibility. And a couple weeks ago, Gronk was asked about, okay, what's next? Are you retiring? And he's like, if you ask me next week, I might say, yeah, I'm hanging it up. I'm done. But if you give me a couple months and I'm getting pretty bored, I'll say, no. Give me another contract. Give me a jersey. I'm getting back in there.
So this is something that Floyd used to always tell me, which is when a guy would retire, or when they'd want to come after the season, they'd come up to him and they'd say, I'm done. I had a nice run. I'm retired. And he used to always tell them. Now, this was like pre-social media, and all these players were not Tom Brady level, important. And he'd say, whoa. Take a trip. Go away. Give it 6 weeks. Call me in 6 weeks and let me know. Now, Tampa's in a weird spot because they got to figure out what they're going to do at quarterback. And I think that was a big concern of Brady's, was he didn't want to overshadow football and the Super Bowl and the championship games, but he did want to let Tampa Bay know what he was going to do. But I got to tell you, I hear those comments of I'm making a decision and I'm really excited for it, but I don't know how I'll feel in 6 weeks. And I would never say never. And so I don't know, but probably not. But I'm not sure. I don't know. And I'm like, I hear that personally. I think he's coming back.
The door's open.
I think he's coming back. Because you don't say things like that if you are completely done. And then I thought about him. I'm like, could Brady do this to his legacy, right? Like Brady, unretired. Wait a minute. Michael did it.
Yeah.
I mean, they all do it. He's coming back. And if he's coming back, you know exactly where my mind's going with all of this.
Straight to the Titans.
Yes.
Tom Brady to the Titans 2020 2.0.
Well, think about this. I believe, and I've told you this, I believe Brady is retiring for 2 reasons. One, I think Giselle is on his ass. I mean, for 5 years. It's been 5 years, right, Ian, that he's basically been like, yeah, Giselle wants me to quit.
Maybe 4 or 5 years. That sounds about right.
Okay. So,
Which, to be fair, I don't blame her.
Sure, I'm not saying that like it's their business, but again, Gisele's been on his rear end.
Mm-hmm.
And if you read the Seth Wickersham piece that came out the day that Adam Schefter reported he retired, basically Wickersham was saying, and I think Brady is a Wickersham source. Brady was saying, or Wickersham said, that oftentimes in their marriage, like in the off season, Gisele would be like, is today a Tommy day or a family day? And too often it was a Tommy day. And so, like, clearly Gisele's tired of that, which, again, that's her business, not mine. But I think Gisele was all over him for so long that Brady finally was like, all right, fine. And this was the other part of it. I think he was going to push for one more year if he didn't think Tampa Bay was such a mess. I think he looks at Tampa Bay and, like, Godwin's gone this year, and one of the linemen that's pretty good, I think, is a free agent, and Sue is a free agent.
They have a bunch of contracts to look at this offseason.
I mean, it was going for broke this year, and they ended up not winning. Plus, Antonio Brown's out, and so I think that's part of it. And I think the other part is Arians. Like, I think Arians, like, it was nice when you had the strict Belichick for 20 years. You go to Arians for a year, and it's like, man, this is like a vacation. The weather's nice here. Like, you can drive around. It's fine. The coach is cool. Like, I think that he was fine with that. But then when the bull crap started to get a little too much and Antonio Brown's running off the field in the middle of a game and Arians is doing all of his, Arians is smacking a guy in the helmet on the field. And, again, like, Arians is like, kind of a loose cannon.
He's laissez-faire.
I think eventually,
to put it kindly.
I think eventually that, like, Tom's like, no, this is not how we work. And I think there's only two possibilities if Tom comes back. Here, San Francisco. He's from San Francisco. His parents live in San Francisco. It's like a weird period for them because Jimmy's gone in San Francisco, but Trey Lance isn't ready. So maybe Brady goes to San Francisco, which people reported that that's what he wanted to do. And the speculation of who the MFer was is Jimmy
G.
So, again, I say Tom's back in play. If you're telling us that we cannot read the Robinson comments as we are set at quarterback, which you're saying we can't.
I'm not convinced.
Okay. Then I think the Titans are in the discussion with this Brady statement.
So the Titans quarterback door is open.
Well, if you're going to open it, then I'm going to introduce Tom Brady yesterday basically saying he's not totally committed to being retired.
I think that's fair. And honestly, whenever Tom Brady did retire, the whole thing didn't feel right. It didn't feel like, okay, this is the retirement of the greatest player who's ever played in the NFL. It didn't feel like it was real. It felt off.
Did it?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know if it was because it was leaked and then denied, and then he came back and said, wait, no, never mind. Actually, I am retiring. It all felt very weird, very rushed, and very inauthentic to me. And that means nothing in the grand scheme of things. I mean, if he wants to retire, he's going to retire. I don't think that he is done, and I don't think that the Titans quarterback saga is done either.
Okay, so you think Brady's going to come back?
I lean toward yes.
Okay, I think Brady's going to come back. Ian?
That is a tough one. I'm gonna lean no.
Can we play this Brady clip again, but leave the Jim Gray part out of it, or do we have to include the Jim Gray part?
Let me listen.
Well, it doesn't matter either way. I want to play this again. Like, you tell me this guy retired 1 week ago. You tell me this guy is completely committed to being retired.
I'm just going to take things as they come. I think that's the best way to put it. And I don't think anything never, you never say never. And, at the same time, I know that I feel very good about my decision. So
walking it back.
Okay.
6 months from now, it may change. It most likely won't.
3.
But, I try to make the best possible decision I can in the moment, which I did this last week. And again, I think it's not looking to, reverse course. I'm definitely not looking to do that. But in the same time, I think you have to be realistic that you never know what challenges there are going to be in life.
4.
And again, I love playing. I'm looking forward to doing things other than playing. That's as honest as I can be with you there, Jim.
I mean, like, honestly, there's like 5 little nuggets in there that were like, I'm not totally done with it.
I feel like we just saw play out both the angel and the devil on Tom Brady's shoulder. Like the devil being like, you're not done. You want to go back. So he's saying, you never know what could happen. And then you hear Giselle in his ear saying, no, you're done. And he's like, I don't want to reverse course. I feel pretty good about the decision that I made, but I never want to say never. You don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how I'm going to feel 6 months from now. He is so not committed to any decision that he's going to make at this point.
Do you think the Titans are in play if Brady decides to return? If he pulls the Brett Favre?
Yeah, I do.
I do too. Let's get your thoughts on it. 615-737-1025. I see your thoughts in the text line. We will get to those. I do want to, break down. Like, I already saw some of these people in the text line. They're like, oh, Jared, here you go again. First of all, if we're allowed to talk quarterback, which Caroline says we're allowed to talk quarterback, if we're allowed to talk quarterback, then every quarterback is in the discussion for me that is an upgrade from Tannehill, which is why you don't hear me talking about Kyler Murray because, again, I'm not a Kyler guy. But Brady, yes. Rodgers, yes, although I'm not sure. I think everybody has gotten all mad about that one. Russell, if I get a little nugget from Seattle, Seahawk.com.
You'll take a mile.
Oh, my God. 615-737-1025 plus. The one thing that I do think would put the Titans in an interesting Brady situation, I will explain that coming up next here on Stillman and Company. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Those are my guys. Hiller has extended their lower 2021 pricing through all of January so that they could help customers tackle necessary replacements. And there was so much demand that they went ahead and did it for February, too, with this great special pricing. It's the lowest expected pricing all year. You've noticed all the inventory shortages and empty shelves, and now there are serious shortages on equipment and products for your home. HVAC systems, tankless water heaters, and generators will all be limited this year. All because of supply issues and rising costs of parts. Manufacturers are going to rapidly increase the price of this equipment. We've all lived it. We all know it. It's all a big part of it. Get Hiller's best pricing now. If you need a replacement, call my friends at Hiller today. Do not wait until you are out of options. Hiller's work is backed by the Happy You'll Be Your Service is Free guarantee. And again, you can learn more at happyhiller.com. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. They've been taking care of my homes for 4 years, and they're proud supporters of the Vanderbilt Commodores, the Tennessee Volunteers, and the Nashville Predators. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
This is Tanner Janot, and this is Smashville.
And now down the right wing side, Tanner Janot. His shot, he scored! Tanner Janot with a shot!
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
Shop today at Social Furniture during their President's Day sale. You'll find everything for your home on sale now. They have same-day delivery for your convenience and pay nothing down today. Use Social Furniture financing plan and pay no interest for 1 full year. For a limited time, they have designer sofas, solid wood bedroom furniture, leather sofas, and sectionals in stock now. They can deliver any size mattress the same day during their President's Day sale going on now through President's Day. Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local. Shop social.
Hey everybody, Robbie Stanley here to tell you about my friends at Jasper's. Jasper's is a casual restaurant and bar located on West End Avenue, equipped with TVs, a game room available for private events, a grab-and-go market, and free parking. Yes, free parking. This neighborhood spot is Nashville's new go-to restaurant and bar. You can try their selection of elevated bar food ranging from appetizers to chicken sandwiches to flatbread pizzas and the famous Smash Burger, as well as any of their delicious cocktails. So visit my friends at Jasper's, located at 1918 West End Avenue, and tell them that Robbie sent you.
Finishing jobs on time, never being idle, and powerful equipment. Meade has the John Deere excavating equipment and the smart grade technology solutions for you and your business. Power your business with a new, used, or rented excavator and get the performance you expect and service you can rely on. Call us today for the equipment built as tough and reliable as you, or visit us at meadtractor.com. That's meadtractor.com.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. The NFL season all comes down to this: Super Bowl 56 with the Rams and the Bengals. To celebrate, FanDuel Sportsbook is hooking up all customers with a risk-free same-game parlay. New and existing customers can place any same-game parlay on 3 legs or more on the Super Bowl, and if you don't win, FanDuel will refund you. Same-game parlays combine multiple bets from the same game into one wager for bigger payouts. Build your parlay with the spreads, money lines, totals, Super Bowl props, and more. You got to go with Odell Beckham as an anytime touchdown scorer, Van Jefferson over total yards, and Joe Burrow over passing yards. Already have an account? Just place your risk-free same-game parlay before the Super Bowl to qualify. New customers can join today with promo code JGM to get 56-1 odds on either team to win the Super Bowl, so you can turn a $5 bet into $280 cash. Promo code JGM. 21 and older in present Tennessee. Refund issues and all withdrawable site credit expires in 7 days. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline 1-800-89-79.
Tonight,
Tip and left baseline. Got around his man. Slides to the hole. Lays it in.
the Commodores of Vanderbilt take on the Missouri Tigers at Memorial Gym. Coverage begins at 7:30 on 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
Hey Nashville, this is Mookie Betts. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
All right, Graziano, hear me out. I'm going to tell you why I disagree. 1 year ago today, I had Tom Brady Sr. on my radio show. They had just won the Super Bowl in Tampa. And I asked him, what motivates Tom to keep going? And he said, because he loves all the things everyone else hates. He loves the grind. He loves the nutrition piece of it. He loves the film work. He loves all the work of it. I know, Nick, you're shaking your head because it's what makes most football players retire. But
nobody loves that. I don't believe his daddy. That's not fun.
There is something about that. Let's put it this way. He hates it less than most other people hate it, at minimum. And I think that the way I've read this with Brady the entire time was this is a person who doesn't want to retire, but is being told by people he cares about genuinely that he should, that it is time for him to do so. But I think he is going to miss it. I think it is an itch he's going to scratch, or want to scratch. I think he is being incredibly honest in that interview, and I will not be the least bit surprised if he comes back to play.
Those are some pretty shocking words from Greenberg, right?
I mean, he is sticking his real estate in the Tom Brady's coming back land.
For a guy who's not a taker?
Yeah, that's a take.
I mean, and I'm watching the TV this morning, and you heard Dominique Foxworth, and he's sitting there like, nobody likes doing that. No, you don't like doing that, Dominique, and that's why you weren't very good. And that's why Tom Brady is very good. Because Tom Brady likes that stuff. You think Tom Brady retired from football and all of a sudden went down to KFC and was like, yo, let me get a bucket?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Like, come on. Like, you know Brady's still eating that crap that nobody else wants to eat. And I'm convinced, and you heard Greenberg allude to it right there, people close to him that he cares about want him not to play football anymore. Yes, there's one person. Her name starts with a G. And she's the one who doesn't want Brady to play.
And she's also an awfully important person to him, I have to assume.
And then, again, these are Brady's first public comments since he retired, right? Mm-hmm. He didn't have a retirement press conference. He didn't.
Which is another thing.
This is Michael Jordan's press conference in 1993. And again, because I think when you think about a guy as good as Brady, Jordan is the only guy in my lifetime that compares. Like, he's the only guy. And so I went back and, like, Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner of the Bulls, like, gives a statement about, I'm happy, to celebrate Michael today, whatever. And Michael gets the mic from Jerry, thanks, da-da-da. And Michael goes right into this.
The word retire means you can do anything you want from this day on. So if I desire to come back and play again, maybe that's what I want to do. Maybe that's the challenge that I may need someday down the road. I'm not going to close that door.
I mean, my God. Like, Michael was basically saying right there, he was foreshadowing, I'm going to come back.
Yeah.
Right?
Because he's leaving his door open. I think that's what Tom Brady said exactly. It was, you never really know what the future holds. Retiring means I can do whatever I want to do. And that also includes coming back to basketball, or in Tom Brady's case, football.
And so with Brady, we keep talking about, hey, once it starts to get things start to get going, he might get that itch, quote unquote, that itch. This is where the Titans come in. There's going to be a taker for Ryan Tannehill. Like, there is no doubt in my mind there's going to be a team, especially after the draft, that is going to be stuck and completely quarterbackless. And it's going to be like, oh, God, we're stuck with Tyrod Taylor. And I don't know who that team's going to be, but there's going to be a team. Again, we've got the list that's out there that we put together of who doesn't have a quarterback. So Denver, Pittsburgh, Carolina, Washington, Tampa Bay. There aren't that many quarterbacks out there to go around.
And there aren't very good free agent quarterbacks on the market right now.
There's no good free agent quarterbacks.
And this is a quote-unquote bad quarterback draft.
And Watson is certainly not in play right now. somebody's going to take Ryan Tannehill. And if they take Ryan Tannehill after June 1st, it is a $9 million cap hit for the Tennessee Titans. So while, again, the local media, the boo-hoo Tannehill crew, they cannot stop talking about this $57 million number that the Titans will never pay. 28, you could say, okay, that's something that the Titans would pay. Mm-hmm. This whole $57 million is all bull crap. They will never pay that. But it is 9 if they trade him after June 1st. So they could do it. Theoretically, team could have a quarterback, not like the quarterback, and then all of a sudden have a rookie. Rookie's not ready. Guy gets hurt. Here's And again, I think the Titans colluded with Brady. They tampered with him in 2020, and they told him, like, hey, Tom, we thought about it, but we decided we're going to go with Tannehill, which was stupid.
But at the time, it felt like the right move.
Well, I said it was the right move, but I was dumb. Stupid. I could see the Titans tampering right now. And all you would want to do is make nobody aware of the plan. But it's like, Tom's like, look, I got to get out of Tampa. I want no part of Tampa. Get me out of here. And the Titans are probably looking at it like, we can't trade Tannehill for you right now. So we can't do that. But we can wait till June 1st, trade Tannehill to Tampa, cut the number in half, the money that you'd be paying for Tannehill, cut it, down to $9 million, and then Tom comes out of retirement as our quarterback. And I will say this, crazier things have happened.
I don't know if it's that scripted.
What do you mean?
I don't think, are you implying that Tom Brady has decided to retire and will come out of retirement post June 1st because he and the Titans have been in cahoots this entire time?
If you were in cahoots, wouldn't that be your plan? Tell Tampa Bay right now. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to get caught.
Mm-hmm.
You get caught, deal's off. Because not only is the deal off, Tampa won't trade him to you.
Right.
So if that's the case, deal's off. If not, if you are in cahoots, and as we have seen with the Bill Belichick text messages, the NFL does some things in cahoots.
Yes.
If you are in cahoots, then the plan is perfect. You go ahead and decide, hey, you retire, we stick behind Tannehill, we act like nothing's up, we pretend to do our due diligence, and then all of a sudden, you start to decide to get that itch back, but don't want to go to Tampa. Tampa doesn't have a quarterback. We trade them Tannehill. You come here.
I have a hard time believing it would be that scripted.
You think Brady's going to go to a team where the plan isn't set out ahead of time?
I don't know. I don't know.
You think Brady's going to the Carolina Panthers?
No.
Like if that itch returns, you think Tom Brady, and he said,
if that itch returns.
And here's where another part of this, in the comments to Jim Gray, he said, I'm definitely not going backwards.
So he doesn't want to go to a team that is not prepared to win right now.
That's not what I thought. That's not what I heard when I heard backwards.
What did you hear?
Tampa Bay.
Probably not.
Okay, so I'm not going back there.
But also, I don't think Tampa Bay is a team right now where it's currently constructed without Tom Brady and without all of those free agents that are now in the market. They're not built to win right now.
Which is probably why Tom Brady doesn't want to go there.
Right.
And then, again, there's a whole tangle here as we talk about cahoots.
Mm-hmm.
John Robinson, Jason Light, maybe Light's in on the deal. Oh, my God, if this happened. I was texting Robbie Stanley about it last night, and Robbie was like, you would have a heart attack if that happened. Could you imagine if this all goes down at the beginning of June? The Predators are in the Stanley Cup final.
Oh, boy.
And Tom Brady unretires and gets traded to the Titans.
911, we have an emergency. Jared Stillman just had a heart attack.
I told Robbie that I'd start a cult called John and On.
Oh, no.
I told him I'd be all for that. I mean, but again, look, do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't think it's going to happen.
I just have a really hard time thinking that it's
Brady unretires, which I think Brady's going to unretire.
Mm-hmm.
I am convinced Tom Brady is going to unretire. If that happens, then I kind of feel like this or San Francisco are the only two places he'd consider that don't have quarterbacks. He's not going back to Tampa.
No.
He's not going back to New England.
No.
And New England has a quarterback. Every other good team, for the most part, feels like they have an answer at quarterback.
What if Aaron Rodgers does leave Green Bay and let's say he goes to Denver? Would Tom Brady be in play for Green Bay?
No. Too cold.
I mean, he was in New England.
I know, but he
for
didn't
20 years.
He didn't choose to be there.
No.
And they have a bad team. Like look at that team right now. They're not very good. Like you look at Green Bay's team without Aaron, it's ugly because they're going to have to cut both Smith brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So there goes your pass rush. And then there's Devontae Adams, who knows?
Who may go with Aaron Rodgers.
But like Aaron, whatever team Aaron goes to, if Aaron went to Carolina, they'd be good. So when you take Aaron out of the equation of Green Bay,
it changes things.
It's like a giant Jenga piece where the whole thing falls down. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Brady wants to be the guy that builds it up. So I think here in San Francisco are it for Brady. The two teams that have been successful with bad quarterback play. I think it's a possibility. And again, I'm not saying I think it's going to happen. I think Brady's going to unretire. And if Brady unretires, he has to go somewhere, right?
Well, yes.
So it's here, San Francisco. And then if the
Are
Titans...
we overlooking something? Because we didn't think Tampa Bay was in play.
But Tampa Bay was only in play because everybody else was out of play. The Titans were out of play. Titans said no, no thank you. San Francisco said no, no thank you. Indianapolis said no, no thank you. Phillip Rivers. So there was nowhere to go. And so then Brady basically got the green light because remember, it was free agency opened. The next day, Brady puts out a letter. Mm-hmm. The next day, Brady signs with Tampa Bay.
Right.
So Brady knew he was going to Tampa when he said goodbye to New England. Before he said goodbye to New England, he wanted to make sure he had a landing spot. Again, I'm not saying that the Titans and Brady are in cahoots, but if he were to unretire, this makes sense. And if he were to unretire after June 1st to trade Tannehill would make the most sense. Again, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I am just laying out all the possibilities. And before everybody sits there and poo-poos it and gets all crazy with me, because that's what people do, just know this. Happened to Brett Favre. It happened to Brett Favre. He ended up on the Vikings. Now, it was roundabout. He went to the Jets, and then he left the Jets, and then he went to – but he ended up on the Vikings. And so anything is possible. 615-737-1025. All that is on the table. I promised phones, so we will go to phones next. 615-737-1025 here on Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game, and we are streaming, as always, on the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Sunshine continues this afternoon. High temperature 56 degrees with 60s possible on Wednesday and Friday and rain possible on Saturday.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
The National Wild Turkey Federation's 46th Annual Convention and Sports Show is February 16th through the 20th at Gaylord Opryland Resort and Convention Center. Celebrate a year of conservation success with the National Wild Turkey Federation members, volunteers, and partners. You can expect the same great nightly events, quality entertainment in the watering hole, and the latest gear from more than 350 companies featured in their exhibit hall. For more info, go to nwtf.org.
Your home value is way up. You can use that money now to pay off credit cards or remodel your house, or both. Hey, Willie Donner for Loan Pronto. Loan Pronto can convert that home equity into cash as little as 2 weeks from now with no cost to you and zero hassle. Mike and Joan in Brentwood called Loan Pronto and they did a Loan Pronto zero cost cash out refi. They got a check for $100,000. They used $50,000 to pay off all of their credit cards and a car loan. Use the other $50K to upgrade their master bath and kitchen. They locked in a new APR in the twos and lowered their total monthly bills by hundreds of dollars. Hello? What are you waiting on? Call Loan Pronto now and convert your home value into cash. Put that money to good use. Do it now and you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780 or lowpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Men, it's the new year, and maybe it's time to do something new for you. If you're sluggish and run down, not sleeping well, have low libido, and just not feeling like you used to, it's possible you have low testosterone. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and if you feel like this, and you're like most men with low T, we can get you back on track fast. Low T treatments can truly change your life. Most men experience higher energy, better gains in the gym, improved sleep patterns, and better mental clarity. You'll also likely find that your libido is improved, which can have a very positive effect on your sex life. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've successfully treated thousands of men for low T. We're experts in these treatment protocols, and we're extremely proud of the results that our patients have experienced. So if you're feeling down and out this new year, it's time to call us. Just $99 gets you a PSA and T-test and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra. Results vary.
Meshing journalism.
They are 2 scores behind you. The math says that increases your chances of winning.
With sports fandom.
I stayed up till 1:30 in the morning, just emotionally numb from Titans and Packers.
And sarcasm.
You guys are the worst.
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode are Robbie and Rexrode. No duh. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10. Brought to you by Little Guys Movers on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
Stillman and Company is on. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
What I would say to y'all is I don't give a damn what Robinson, the GM, said. Why don't you tell the people in Nashville, Tennessee, one of my favorite places to visit from time to time, why don't you tell them we have a chance to get Aaron Rodgers, but we're going to stick with Ryan Tannehill. Why don't you say that publicly? Why don't you say that? Now, you can say that when there's no obvious chance to get Aaron Rodgers. But if somehow, some way there was a chance to get him, if Green Bay said, hey, if Aaron Rodgers said, I wouldn't mind coming to Nashville, Tennessee, by the way, a state with no state income taxes, excuse me, I wouldn't mind going there. If Aaron Rodgers made that claim, if he put that out there, and you knew it's Tennessee,
oh, my goodness. Stephen A. Smith does not care what John Robinson says. John Robinson tries to put the quarterback discussion to bed on Thursday with Ben Arthur. And it's one thing for Stephen A. not to care. Mm-hmm. We talked about it all day yesterday. I figured we'd be done with quarterback talk. And then I asked you, and you were like, nope, open it up. And I'm listening to Robbie and Rexrode, and they're talking about it all day. I'm like, oh, my goodness gracious. So, like, am I supposed to think that it's like, you know, I did not have sexual relations with that quarterback? Like, is that where we are right now?
I absolutely don't think that you should think that.
Is that like just whatever we say, just in one ear, out the other, doesn't count?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right, there we go.
It is speculation season. That is the beauty of the Titans offseason. We can speculate, spill tea, and gossip all we want. But I'm not closing the door on the quarterback. Not yet. Not until Ryan Tannehill is standing in a Titans jersey in front of me on game 1.
I mean, like, if they go to training camp.
I know, I'm being dramatic, but yes.
You know what's funny?
It ain't over till it's over.
So I thought about getting the cuts of this, but then I was like, if I do this, people are going to think I'm just bashing Tannehill. This morning, I watched Tannehill's press conference after the Bengals game again. Mm-hmm. 6 minutes of him not saying the word I once. Then I watched Patrick Mahomes after their Bengals loss. Uh-huh. I mean, dude, he was like, yeah, I screwed up before halftime. I made a bad throw. I let our guys down. We were executing well in the first half, and I tried to be too aggressive down the field. Should have taken what was given to me. I screwed that. I mean, it was night and day.
But, I mean, I think we've already established the fact that, like, it was incredibly short-sighted of Ryan Tannehill to first of all have that press conference where it's team, which is normally a good thing, except when it's all on you. And then second of all, not have a follow-up press conference.
Oh, dude, the best was Tannehill.
It's both bad.
At some point, we will do this. And again, this will come into Jared's just bashing Tannehill, but it's like I want you to remember how bad it was so that you don't get gaslit into believing that Tannehill is fixable. He was asked about all 3 of the interceptions, and like each time had like a dog ate my homework excuse for it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, guy just made a good play. It's the Bengals. Let's go to your
phones. They are in the Super Bowl.
Why are they in the Super Bowl?
Because Ryan Tannehill threw 3 interceptions.
All right. And if he didn't, we'd still look at them like they're the Bengals. Let's go to your phone, 615-737-1025. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Rob in Clarksville texts in and says, based on John Robinson's track record with first-round draft picks, why wouldn't everyone be on board with trading those away, at least 3 of them, and Ryan Tannehill for Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers? For example, would you be willing to trade Rashaan Evans, Isaiah Wilson, and Caleb Farley, and Ryan Tannehill for Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson? I would jump all over it.
So you may feel that way about first-round picks, but he does not feel that way about first-round picks. For example, in the Ben Arthur article, injuries have been an issue with your last 2 draft classes, the question. Has that forced you to reevaluate how you look at potential Titans targets? So he's only asking about the last 2 classes where they've had a lot of injuries. Mm-hmm. Guess the first name he brings up.
Who? A.J. Brown?
quote, I think the 2021 class was maybe a little outlier. Obviously, we took Jeffrey Simmons.
There we go.
Who was coming off a knee injury, and he has worked out. So, hey, everybody out there, don't forget the guy that I hit on. I know you're asking about the last 2 classes, but let me give somebody from 3 classes ago that kind of quashes the narrative.
Even though our most recent first-round draft pick did not play this year because he was, ding, 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 injured.
Caleb Farley had a back issue coming into the draft and then hurt his knee. Not my fault. It wasn't the back. Monty Rice had been healthy most of his college career at Georgia. He gets injured. I think sometimes it's just bad luck or just happens. Guys are going to get injured sometimes. So I'm telling you, he doesn't think that.
Bad luck.
For everybody out there that thinks that Robinson, and not only this, for everybody out there that thinks Robinson can't draft, his first draft class had an All-Pro in the first round, All-Pro in the second round, and an All-Pro in the third round. His 2019 draft class was Jeffrey Simmons, A.J. Brown, Nate Davis, Amani Hooker, David Long Jr. Like, Robinson can draft. He just hasn't drafted well the last 2 years. And, I hope I'm wrong on the Raidens thing because they need him. But the last 2 years are a big concern. And that's why when I see these guys that interview Titans people, like it comes out of, so-and-so interviewed. Like I think it was Ryan Cowden interviewed last week, the number 2. He interviewed with Pittsburgh. I couldn't give 2 poops if he leaves. Now, I don't really know what he does. But, again, the drafting just hasn't been very good. So if he or Monty Ossenfort or those guys get jobs, I'm like, good. Get him out of here. Get somebody new in. Now, when I saw the Colts were interviewing Jim Schwartz for defensive coordinator, I was like, oh, no. Don't be interviewing Jim Schwartz now. But these other guys, I couldn't give 2 poops about.
And also, I'm not willing to deal the 2 or 3 or however many draft picks it may be because John Robinson hasn't hit on the draft the past 2 years. I'm willing to deal the picks because it means that you get Aaron Rodgers in return.
There is some truth to that. Like, I think that's one thing where, like, they dealt a pick for Julio Jones, and everybody's like, yeah, except for us. We were against it.
It was a pick too much.
But, like, there's a big difference between a quarterback and old wide receiver. And again, Julio's going to be, I think today's Julio's birthday. I think he's
Happy
30.
birthday, Julio.
I think he's 33.
Wow.
33. Second round pick, $15 million. And they restructured his contract.
Happy birthday to Julio.
What an unmitigated disaster.
Not on his birthday.
Of a trade.
Not on his birthday.
Oh, I don't care about that. Everybody has birthdays. What's next?
Another texter texts in and says maybe John Robinson is not saying anything about the quarterback because he can't because of tampering rules.
So he can say somebody's not his quarterback or that, hey, we're not going to worry about this next year or whatever. He can say that. Now, can he say, yeah, I think that's a good question. I think we're looking at Russell, Aaron, Tom, or Derek Carr, and if we can't get one of those guys, then we'll go back there with Ryan. He can't do that. That is tampering. I mean, I think this just goes back to whether or not you actually believe if he's telling the truth. And everybody else except for me and Ian seems to think there's a hint of him not telling the truth.
Well, I just have to take everything that's said, not just at a Titans podium, but really anywhere in the league with a grain of salt.
Again, Nick Caserio today saying that the Brian Flores lawsuit had nothing to do with them hiring Lovie Smith, which everybody knows is just complete bullcrap.
I mean, the Broncos hiring Nathaniel Hackett has nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers, but we do need a quarterback, and we are going to hire their offensive coordinator.
Yeah, no, it had everything to do with Aaron.
Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining.
What's next?
Another texter texts in and says Tom Brady is going to want to see a good offensive line if he comes back. The 49ers have a good line. The Titans will have to keep Taylor Lewan if they want TB12.
I don't know. I don't know how much Brady cares about that. Aaron Stinney got cut here, and he was his right guard for 2 years in Tampa Bay. Now, they drafted the Wirfs kid, who is a bad boy at right tackle. Mm-hmm. They had a good left tackle. But I don't know if Brady cares about that as much as Brady's going to find a way to get the ball out. Like, regardless of what, you're going to have to change the offense if Brady comes here. Like, Derrick Henry's not toting the ball 35 times if Brady's the quarterback. Derrick's not going to touch it 28 times if Aaron's the quarterback, and Derrick ain't going to touch it that much if any of these guys are the quarterbacks. Because the teams that are run first, for the most part, are the teams that can't throw. And so that will change. How much does the individual offensive line matter for Brady? I'm not sure they really had a great offensive line in Tampa before he got there. And even when they were there, I mean, Wirfs is good, and Jensen the center is legit. But other than that, they're fine. They're fine. Now, again, he didn't get sacked much because he gets the ball out. Tannehill won't even slide. So I think you'll see the sack numbers for the Titans, like again, in a crazy world. If Brady was the quarterback, I think you would see the sack numbers go down because Brady's just getting the ball out, whereas Tannehill, is trying to stare down his receiver and is not looking at the rush or worried about getting hit. What's next?
Another texter checks in about Floyd. Says Floyd wouldn't let Jared talk about swapping quarterbacks like this because getting Rodgers, Brady, or Wilson doesn't equal a Super Bowl.
How does getting Brady not equal a Super Bowl?
I mean, it doesn't guarantee you a Super Bowl.
Nothing
but it
guarantees
gives
you
you a much better shot.
When he signed with Tampa, Floyd told me, he was like, I mean, this is great, but he's not going to go win the Super Bowl.
And what did he do?
He went and won the Super Bowl. I mean, again, this is a total just gut feel here. If Tom Brady is the starting quarterback of the Tennessee Titans in 2021, are the Titans playing the Rams in the Super Bowl right now?
Yes.
Ian?
I mean, it's hard to say no based on what they did with Tannehill.
If Brady wanted to be here, there is nothing I care about other than making sure that Brady gets here at this point. That's it. And I don't know. I don't know if Brady wants to be here. I think Brady's going to unretire. I don't know what Brady's going to want to do. 615-737-1025. We'll get back to your phones. Coming up next, the Titans coaching staff. I mean, my goodness, some of the takes out there about the passing game coordinator are ridiculous. We'll discuss this next. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 1025 The Game.
The voice of reason.
274 yards, 2 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. You're not going to win a game that way.
The voice of the fan.
I'm tired of let's just give it to a quarterback.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Shop today at Social Furniture during their President's Day sale. You'll find everything for your home on sale now. They have same-day delivery for your convenience and pay nothing down today. Use Social Furniture financing plan and pay no interest for 1 full year. For a limited time, they have designer sofas, solid wood bedroom furniture, leather sofas, and sectionals in stock now. They can deliver any size mattress the same day during their President's Day sale going on now through President's Day. Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local. Shop social.
If you suffer from chronic joint pain, don't assume that steroid shots, pain pills, and surgery are your only options. You can call now to get real, lasting, life-changing relief from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in using biologic therapies to repair damaged tissue in your aching joints. The success rate is staggering. People with knee and back pain, shoulder pain, hip pain, they're moving again, enjoying life again with help from QC Kinetics. This advanced, unique treatment protocol uses natural biologic agents, mostly from your own body. These powerful, highly concentrated growth factors are put directly into your affected joint, going to work to soothe the inflammation and restore damaged tissue. A truly regenerative treatment. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Finally, a new, different, highly successful approach to dealing with joint pain. Is it time you got a second opinion? Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics now. 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
It's the official Bud Light Preds watch party as the Nashville Predators take on the Dallas Stars this Wednesday. Puck drops at 7, but the party starts at 6:30 with all kinds of specials. See you at headquarters, Beercade, downtown Nashville on 2nd Avenue. Go Preds!
Signs First is the official sign company for 1025 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Hey, it's Chase McKay, Program Director at 1025 The Game, and when our crew is out, we want to look our best. Thankfully, we have Authentically American taking care of all of our apparel. The way your team looks is everything. Enhance your company's image with the help of veteran-owned and operated Authentically American. For you parents out there, they'll take care of your kids' team apparel too. It's Authentically American, and yep, it's made in America. Check them out at authenticallyamerican.us. Mention the game and they'll handle the setup and artwork free of charge. That's authenticallyamerican.us.
Jared Stillman.
Football season, and then football season becomes hockey season, and then it becomes draft season, and then it becomes hockey playoff season.
And company.
Maybe this is something to just get people a little bit interested.
It's a matter of not having too many chefs in the kitchen.
Catch Stillman and Company on your drive home. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
And I can spot it from a mile away.
Watch live on YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers.
ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, we are delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 1025 The Game, streaming live Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We're live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. So, I'm not a big cancel culture guy. Like, I guess I kind of believe in it. I kind of don't. Like, I definitely think it's real. I think people get
It's
on
absolutely real.
social media. I used to think it was not real, like it was just a figment of an imagination. But people get on social media and they go dig up things you said 45 years ago, and then they, use it again, whatever. And I almost think that cancel culture is more a reflection of the person doing the hiring and the firing than it is the Twitter mob that gets mad about whatever it is. So I guess cancel culture is after Joe Rogan, the podcaster now.
Yep.
I have no idea what they're mad about. I have decided if it's things I don't care about, I just don't pay attention.
There's some cancel culture coming after Ryan Clark as well.
Really?
Yes. He said something
I care about Ryan Clark.
Yeah, Ryan Clark's great. He said something about how he doesn't think Russell Wilson is a great quarterback. Or that's not word for word verbatim what he said, but along the lines. And people are coming at him for bashing a black quarterback.
Seriously?
They want to cancel him for saying Russell Wilson is not a good quarterback.
Cancel?
Yeah.
For that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's tweeted a few things about it today.
Yeah, see,
like,
I don't
saying
ever,
that it's my job to
I don't ever cancel
analyze
culture.
quarterbacks.
Cancel culture came after me after the national championship game a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, I love this story.
And I honestly paid almost no attention to it. Like, I mean, when I woke up in the middle of the night to DeAndre Hopkins calling me a racist, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. But
If I had $1,
I never really paid attention to it. And so, again, that's how I don't care about these things. But every now and then, there's like a big hubbub on Twitter that then I feel like affects the Titans or something, and I almost feel like I have to address it. And so the Titans yesterday Friday, Jeremy Fowler, ESPN reported the Titans hired Tim Kelly, who is the offensive coordinator of the Houston Texans. And then Chase, our own Chase McCabe, reported that he would be the senior offensive assistant and the passing game coordinator. I don't even know what that means. But Titans fans are pumped about it, especially the ones on Twitter. They're like, yes, yes, yes. I mean, I've heard some ridiculous takes in terms of excitement about Tim Kelly. And I was at the gym today, and I asked somebody, and they were like, what do you think about this move? And I was like, I don't even know what the guy does. Like, so I'm supposed to be excited about the offensive coordinator of the 32nd ranked Houston Texans offense, who got fired. Even though they promoted the defensive coordinator to head coach, this guy still got fired, and I'm supposed to be excited about this.
Yes.
Why?
It's something new.
So I asked the guy, I'm like, what do you know about this? Why are you excited? He goes, well, it worked with Jim Schwartz.
That's exactly what I said yesterday. That's why Titans fans are excited. They see what the addition of Jim Schwartz did to the defense, and they say, okay, well, now this offense is going to be the same thing if they bring in, a senior offensive analyst, quote unquote.
Okay, but like Jim Schwartz essentially got his start in football in the 1990s on a Cleveland staff with Bill Belichick as the head coach and Nick Saban as the defensive coordinator.
Doesn't matter.
15 years, or I think it's 14 technically years as a defensive coordinator for Jim Schwartz. 5 years as a head coach in the NFL. He won 10 games one season with the Lions. Nobody wins 10 games with the Lions. He won 10 games with the Lions. The Lions. 15 years. Best defensive coordinator in Titans history. And we still don't know what he does.
And we will never know.
And we'll never know. But so you want to look at that and say that this is the same as that.
Yes. I don't.
How?
But Titans fans do.
I don't get it. I pulled up Tim Kelly's resume, right? Because like maybe there's something in there that is good or is something. Here you go. Illinois Wesleyan graduate assistant, Minnesota State Moorhead, whatever the hell that is.
Love that place.
Defensive coordinator and defensive line coach, Ball State graduate assistant, Penn State. So Bill O'Brien. So now we see how he gets in there. Bill O'Brien, graduate assistant. Houston Texans offensive quality control coach. Offensive quality control coach and assistant offensive line coach. Tight ends coach. Offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, offensive coordinator, and now he's senior offensive assistant and passing game coordinator for the Titans. So he has worked nowhere in the NFL except for the Texans, where Bill O'Brien was the head coach for most of the time.
Yep.
And when Bill O'Brien's the head coach, that means that Bill O'Brien is essentially the offensive coordinator because Bill comes up with the game plan, Bill calls the plays, Bill is the offensive guy, and Bill got fired, and this guy got elevated, and they were 32nd in the league. And I'm supposed to be excited about this. And he's not even offensive coordinator. Now, you people are going to interpret this as Jared is here complaining about this hire. And I am not complaining about the hire. I am telling you I don't care about this Tim Kelly hire. There is nothing on Tim Kelly's resume that impresses me. But just because there's nothing on his resume doesn't mean he's not a good coach. But at least that should be part of the equation, right? Like, what's the guy done? Oh, nothing. Okay, so there's that. Then, after we get past that, again, what's he done? Nothing. So what's he going to do?
I don't know. And again, we probably won't ever know if we don't know Jim Schwartz's role.
So the Tennessee Titans are going to have an offensive coordinator who calls the plays, and all you guys do is complain about Downing's play calls, which you're open to. Some of them were really bad. Some of them, I think the quarterback let him down. Some of them, they just don't have a tight end. So you already got an offensive play caller, an offensive coordinator. You have a quarterback's coach, which, by the way, nobody ever talks about that guy. But, I mean, shouldn't we talk about quarterback coach? Because he was the quarterback coach under Matt LaFleur, left so LaFleur could go to Green Bay. LaFleur didn't take him with him to Green Bay. They didn't promote him to offensive coordinator. They promoted Arthur Smith. Then when Arthur left, Arthur didn't take the quarterback's coach to Atlanta, and they promoted the tight ends coach back to offensive coordinator. So Vrabel doesn't want to promote this quarterback's coach. LaFleur doesn't want to take him to Green Bay, and Arthur doesn't want to take him to Atlanta. But you already have a quarterback's coach who didn't do anything with Marcus, and obviously Tannehill's going in the wrong direction. And now you have a senior offensive assistant passing game coordinator, and you all are trying to tell me this is the future of the Tennessee Titans offense, and all those problems with Tannehill are now gone by the wayside because they brought this guy in here who has never not worked for the Houston Texans in the NFL.
And also, what is his role as passing game coordinator in a run-first offense?
Well, I mean,
I know they still throw the ball. I know that.
You have to design the passing schemes, but I figured that's what the offensive coordinator did. So, I like somebody was trying to pitch this as, well, it's another set of eyes. And I'm like, a lot of times those things aren't good for, like, management structures. Another set of eyes. And I got to tell you what I think this is, and this is the biggest difference between him and Schwartz, is Vrabel's just hiring another Vrabel Texan buddy. I mean, if you look at Vrabel's hires outside of, it's all the buddies. It's all Houston and Ohio State. And most of the guys are both. Like the guy that's like his personal secretary or whatever, Stretch, Ohio State. I think he was like a manager or a graduate assistant when Vrabel was at Ohio State. And now he's, got the headset on coaching the game when Vrabel's got COVID. The Bowen was Ohio State and Texans. This guy, Texans. And Ian, what is the rule about the Vrabel buddy system from Houston?
Jared's not a fan.
Not a fan. Not a fan. The same method that got you Jonathan Joseph and Jadeveon Clowney and Bowen as the not defensive coordinator 2 years ago. And everybody, too. And I'm not getting on the coaching staff right now because I just don't know. But, I mean, like, I'm more reacting to the people that just think this move is the bee's knees.
I mean, it's addition to the coaching staff that we don't even know what kind of role he plays.
But it's not like this guy was, freaking I'm trying to think of, like, it wasn't like he was Peyton Manning's coordinator in Indianapolis.
And like I said, like this would have been an earth-shattering move if the Titans hired on Sean Payton as their passing game coordinator. Then, okay, then I'm willing to say that, yes, this was close to an earth-shattering move for the Titans. But I think that it's an addition to the coaching staff, and you're probably not going to hear much from him or about him moving forward.
Okay, now the Titans have made this all official. So they've added Timmy Kelly to the coaching staff as the passing game coordinator, and Bobby King is the inside linebackers coach, and Bobby King is from
Houston,
the Texans. And the Titans, breaking news, have extended the contracts for John Robinson and Mike Vrabel.
All right.
So I got some thoughts on that.
Okay.
Extending the contracts for Vrabel and Robinson. I got a thought on it. What do you think of it as well? Add it to the kitty. But again, this idea of the passing game coordinator and all, I mean, who cares? You don't even know what these assistant coaches do. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll react. Vrabel and Robinson with extensions. I got some takes on it. We'll do that next. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Every Thursday at 1 on Darren, Donick, and Chase, we're joined by Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman for the best inside knowledge on the NHL. It's all brought to you by Bank of England Mortgage on ESPN 1025 The Game.
The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The cold winds of winter are here, and that means it's a great time to replace those old, drafty windows. Pella is the leader in the industry for top-quality window and door products. But Pella Windows and Doors are also affordable, extremely affordable. Pella has payment plans less than $95 a month to replace your windows. So I suggest you purchase your windows and doors from the experts at Pella of Nashville. Go to PellaofNashville.com.
Get big game ready and score amazing deals at Electronic Express. Bring the action to your living room with 4K TVs from Samsung, LG, Sony, Hisense, TCL, and more. We've also got huge savings in every department. Computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, and more. The game wouldn't be complete without the food, so save up to 40% on all appliances with up to 36 months free financing. Electronic Express has what you need to get big game ready. We make it happen.
The IRS is ramping up collection, and if you owe back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, listen carefully. Before it's too late, check your eligibility for the Fresh Start program still offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problems. Call our special hotline number now and find out in minutes if you qualify for these life-changing debt reduction programs. Business or personal, if you're in a payment plan with no end in sight, have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to know your options, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief and stop collections immediately. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau with a 5-star rating from Yelp, this veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. Call their hotline number now, 800-819-1120. That's 800-819-1120. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-819-1120 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
Joe Rexrode here to let you know FanDuel Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56, and there's a way to celebrate. New customers, you can bet $5, you can win $280 in cash on either team to win when you use promo code Joe102 when registering for FanDuel Sportsbook. That's right, you get your winnings in cold hard cash, better than free bets, and there's no better place to bet Super Bowl 56 than FanDuel Sportsbook. You got all kinds of promotions for new and existing customers, same game parlays, small bet, big wins, tons of Super Bowl props and more. Don't miss your chance. Turn $5 into $280 in cash. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Use promo code Joe102. Make every moment more this Super Bowl. Personally, I'll give you my take on this. I like the Rams. Now, granted, I've been betting against the Bengals the whole time, and I've been wrong, but I do like the Rams. Whatever you do, promo code Joe102. Get in on this exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook, and you must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $280. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fano.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
James, you said that you're going to be the coach here for a while. Has there been talks about your contract status in the future?
No, I'm under contract, Teresa, and my belief is that I will be here. I want to be here. I want to do the best job that I can for these players that put so much into it. That's just kind of how I felt. You know, I mean, I don't want to be anywhere else. And that's just, you know, kind of how I said it. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows that, you know, this team is, you know, we work hard and we're going to compete and we have to improve. You have to improve each and every year. You know, and that's, you know, we're always going to put the team first.
I think now we know what the answer was there. That was after the season. Remember, Vrabel got all chesty after they lost and was like, I'm going to be the coach for years to come, people.
And then walked it back a
and then
couple
was
days
like, no,
later.
no, I just, you know, I want to be here.
This is where I want to be. I don't see myself anywhere else.
The Tennessee Titans, according to their release, have extended the contracts of general manager John Robinson and head coach Mike Vrabel. Additionally, the team added 2 coaches to their staff. Tim Kelly as passing coordinator and Bobby King as inside linebackers coach. By the way, so now they have an offensive coordinator, they have a quarterbacks coach, and they have a passing game coordinator.
Yes.
Okay. Robinson and Vrabel get extensions. Couple thoughts here. Number one, it's hard for me to judge how I feel about this because I don't know what their current contract statuses were, and I do not know what this means. Like, how long of an extension, how tied to them are they, and there is no salary cap when it comes to coaches, so you can fire the coach whenever you want. The Texans did that with Bill O'Brien, where they gave him a stupid contract extension, and then I think they fired him 4 games into the season. So, there's really not like the end-all be-all there of contracts, but the Titans historically don't like to pay out people they're not that are not coaching for them or whatever. They did it with Wiz and Hunt, which was a great step for Amy Adams Strunk. I'm not sure I love this. Like just on the surface without knowing any details.
Why?
Vrabel, yes. Robinson, I don't know. And here's why I say Vrabel, yes. Because the succession plan in New England was obvious that it was going to be Josh McDaniels after Bill Belichick. I don't know how much longer Bill's going to coach. And so there's not an obvious succession in New England. And remember, Belichick was coach of the Jets when the Patriots got him the first time. So you could see Bob Kraft maybe trying to do something similar, that if Belichick were to leave and they were trying to get Vrabel to the Patriots, then, you know, at least if he's under contract here, there's no way he can finagle his way out of it, and maybe you can get 2 first-round picks like the Jets did in exchange for Belichick. Like, there is a market for Vrabel. I'm sure there would be a market for Robinson, too. I don't know. This is weird how people in the league feel one way or another. But doesn't John Robinson need to do a little bit more? I'm not saying they need to fire the guy. But the draft classes the last couple of years, they haven't been very pretty. The quarterback situation you find yourself in, like, I'm just telling you right now, if I owned the Titans and Ryan Tannehill were my quarterback and I were to go downstairs after that Cincinnati game, and I probably would have given it a week before I talked to the general manager or the coach after we lost, because I'd have been so freaking mad. And if I went downstairs and I'm like, get rid of this quarterback, and they're like, well, we can't get rid. Like, I want to be in on Rodgers. I want to be in on Russell. I want you guys to tamper on Brady. I want all this stuff. And they're like, well, Jared, sir, Mr. Stillman, we can't do this because we are so committed to the cap that we can't move on from this average quarterback who stinks in the playoffs. Then I'd be like, well, then you're not getting a contract extension because you've committed me too much to this bull crap, and I'm not happening. So Vrabel, fine. Again, I don't know like how long it is. I think Vrabel's a good coach. I think Robinson's a good general manager. But the one of the things that bothers me is that I feel as if inside the Tennessee Titans community that the end result of the season, and we asked the question on the Friday before the Cincinnati game, and it was, if they lose this game, is it a disappointing season? And everybody said yes. You said yes. Chad Withrow said yes. Corey Curtis said yes. Everybody said yes. Disappointing season if they lose. Then they lost. And I don't feel like anybody inside the Tennessee Titans considers this a disappointing season. And I think maybe that's why I feel the need to be so hard on them, is because I feel like everybody is going to just forget about it and treat the regular season result of winning a bad division as, well, hey, good enough. And it wasn't good enough for me. And they'll tell you it wasn't good enough for them, but then their comments otherwise make you think it probably is. And if the owner is going to turn around and give them contract extensions after this disappointing season, which we declared before the Bengals game, that if they lost the Bengals game, it would be a disappointing season, it's like it's a reward. It's like nobody here cares. And so if that's the standard of, hey, I just want my coach and general manager to get me to the playoffs, if that's all you want, then fine. But, I mean, I want more out of these two, especially Robinson. I want more. I want more out of both of them. I want better drafts. I don't want Isaiah Wilson's. I want you to figure out quarterback. And it's going to be tough. Like, it's going to be bold to do it. Now, here's the other thing. And this goes back to the Tannehill side of this. And then I'll get your thoughts on it. We'll get your thoughts at 615-737-1025, which is, if this is real money that they're extending Vrabel and Robinson for, and I think it probably is, I'm going to guess it's probably a 5-year extension for both of them, though I don't know. But if we're talking real money here, where to fire either guy would be just like a rod up the rear end, then you can be really bold when it comes to quarterback. So go be bold. What's stopping you? Everybody in football will always tell you, oh, well, if we do this and it doesn't work, then we get fired. Well, you just signed a contract extension. So if you sign a contract extension and you trade 2 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers and you don't win a Super Bowl with it, and then everybody's like, oh, no, the team's not good anymore because Aaron retired and they don't have an answer at quarterback and they went 4 years in a row without getting a good first-round pick. And, well, it doesn't matter because they've extended these guys. So you're at least getting paid for the next 5 years. So go be bold at quarterback. I don't think they will be. But I guess, everybody here is going to see Robinson and Vrabel contract extensions and be like, woo, yay, yay. And I'm like, can you have a not disappointing end to the season like this where I'm still kind of at a loss for how you get past where you are right now and where I'm not totally sold on you two being the guys to figure out how to get me past it before I start handing out money? I mean, look, Amy's loyal. And John and Mike have done good jobs. They really have. Now, they didn't give any credit to the last guy that was the head coach that did a good job, but that's okay. But I just don't like this idea of just handing out money. Just like, hey, disappointing season, right? Yep, disappointing. Here you go. Here's 5 more years. Like, really?
But we view it as a disappointing season. Do they? And we talked about the difference between keeping your job and doing your job. And we thought that if John Robinson decides to keep on Ryan Tannehill, because you can win enough games with Ryan Tannehill, you can have a winning season, you can probably get to the playoffs.
But now it doesn't matter, because by the time this extension's over, Tannehill will be retired anyways.
I know, but I'm saying that's him keeping his job. So I think that's the Titans, giving John Robinson an extension. And I'll leave Mike Vrabel out of this because I'm really talking about John Robinson here. If John Robinson is keeping his job and he is continuing to maintain a winning season and going to the playoffs, then that's the Titans' way of saying we're good with that.
See, here's what bothers me. Here's the quote from Amy Adams Strunk. And let me say this. I love Amy Adams Strunk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think she's a great owner. I think she's a great person. Quote, I am proud to say that John and Mike will be leading our football team for years to come. I have seen the team improve on a yearly basis. See, now I don't agree with that, but that's neither here nor there. I have seen the team improve on a yearly basis under their direction, and I know their singular goal is to deliver a championship for our fans. Together, they have developed a culture within our organization that has been essential to our success. Their values align with mine and what I want the Titans to be. They demand excellence from themselves and others and work well together and are always striving to improve, and they care deeply for the players and staff. So like a very generic thing. Mm-hmm. Do they really demand excellence of themselves?
I mean, I believe that that's what they strive to do, yes.
But do they really demand it? Because, again, you read the Ben Arthur column, and there's a lot of, well, I mean, hey, we drafted Jeffrey Simmons, who was coming off a knee injury, and that worked out. It's like everything the Titans say right now is like a defense of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, again.
Well, I said yesterday, it's a lot of patting on the back from John
Robinson. Oh,
Robinson.
he loves to pat himself on the back.
Yes.
I mean, I got to tell you, he and Floyd differ in a lot of ways. Like, I know that they were friends and that Floyd obviously, endorsed John for the job. And, I mean, Floyd would be just so giddy. Way to go, J-Rob. But in all seriousness, they differ in one real way, which is Robinson hears the talk. And, maybe Floyd heard it and just acts like Mr. Tough Guy.
They always deny that they hear the talk.
But Robinson basically responds directly to the talk. Robinson... And so again, he, at the end of Ben Arthur asked him in the last question was anything else? And he was like, we weren't very good when we got here, but we're good now because I'm the didn't say it, but again, we're good because I'm the GM. We don't have to fix the culture. That culture, that's set in stone, baby. And it's do you really demand excellence of yourself? You draft a guy in Isaiah Wilson. We ask you all about it. And it's how are we supposed to know about Isaiah Wilson? And it's because that's your job. And it's they draft guys that get hurt or guys that don't play much. How are we supposed to know? And it's oh, goodness. I don't know. These last two draft classes, if you own the team, wouldn't these last two draft classes make you nervous about extending John Robinson?
Yes. Because I already was nervous about John Robinson's drafting ability.
Have not figured out quarterback yet. He's been here for 6 years. And they certainly didn't get things right with Marcus. And they're certainly not getting them right now with Tannehill. But they did add Tim Kelly. So Titans Twitter land thinks that that's going to save the day. Let's get your reaction. Vrabel and Robinson are extended coaching staff. Get it all out there. By the way, I was listening today, the guys in Boston, I guess they hired Joe Judge to come in as a senior offensive, one of these, just ripping the Patriots and just ripping Joe Judge and ripping Belichick and ripping that coaching staff. And I was I don't even know what these assistant coaches do. Again.
The Titans won't tell you.
They have an offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
They have a quarterback coach.
Yep.
They have a passing game coordinator.
Yes.
I don't understand how somebody's not stepping on somebody's toes. But that's not any of my business. Caroline has the Caesars Sportsbook update for you. Go ahead, Caroline.
Yes, I do. It is the Caesars Sportsbook report. It is finally here. We've waited all season for it. It is Super Bowl week, the Rams and the Bengals. The big game is finally here, so make some big money on it. If you haven't already, now is the time to download the Caesars Sportsbook app. If you use code RADIO300, one word, RADIO300, and if you wager exactly $20 for your first bet, then you'll get $300 in free bets, win or lose. That is code RADIO300. So there have been some big-time wagers placed on the Super Bowl, but there are also some wagers that have been placed that have big-time paydays. There's been a $400 bet on the Bengals' exact points, 0 for plus 15,000. That $400 bet would pay out $60,000. Now, I can't expect the Bengals to score 0 points with this offense that we've seen this season, but that's my take. You have yours. It's your money, so put some money on it on the Caesars Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Offer valid in Tennessee and for new users only. First catch wager of $20 only. Paid as 6 bet credits. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesars Sportsbook. Download it, people.
This is Mikael Kralund, and this is Smashville.
And the rebound shoveled in by Mikael Kralund, and the Predators have tied it up on the power play.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 1025, The Game.
Wow, I've got a whole 5 minutes before my next call. What should I do? Grab a snack? Nah. Text with mom? That's more than a 5-minute proposition. I have been looking at getting a new bank account. Is that even possible?
Can't believe you have extra time? You won't believe what you can do with it. Open a Regions checking account online in as little as 5 minutes. Then enjoy award-winning service and banking tools and tech that help you live in the moment. Learn more at regions.com/live-in-the-moment. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Genesis Diamonds has everything you need to create the perfect Valentine's experience. A romantic gift, some fresh flowers, chocolates, and dinner out on us. That's right. Genesis has put together the ultimate Valentine's package. When you buy any piece of jewelry for just $99 or more, we'll give you a bouquet of flowers from Jenny's Flowers, some yummy chocolates, and a gift card for dinner at STK Steakhouse. At Genesis, love and romance are what we do best. So we've created this amazing one-stop offer so you can spend quality time with the one you love this Valentine's. We've pulled together some wonderful Valentine gift ideas as well. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, affordable, timeless gifts she can enjoy for years. So bring the sparkle and the romance with one-stop shopping at Genesis. Spend just $99 or more with us and get the flowers, the chocolates, and a gift card for dinner as our gift. Happy Valentine's Day from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Limited quantity. See store for details.
Hey everybody, Robbie Stanley here to tell you about my friends at Jasper's as the neighborhood bar and restaurant to catch the next Preds game. Jasper's is located on West End Avenue and offers a fun atmosphere with a game room, TVs, and a large bar and lounge area. Plus they offer free parking. That's right, free parking on West End, and offer specials for every Preds game day, including $10 smash burgers and $3 bottled domestics. So come on down to Jasper's next game day for happy hour every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m. and 2-for-1 beers all day on Sundays. Just tell them that Robbie Stanley sent you.
Tonight,
Pippen left baseline, got around his man, slides to the hole, lays it in.
the Commodores of Vanderbilt take on the Missouri Tigers at Memorial Gym. Coverage begins at 7:30 on 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
Hey Nashville, this is David Price. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Stillman and Company. So John Robinson and Mike Vrabel have been extended by the Tennessee Titans. Again, they demand excellence. I'm fine with Vrabel. I have no problem with Vrabel. I think Vrabel's probably a top 5 coach in the league. Now, Vrabel drives me crazy, and I don't believe everything he says. I have no problem with extending Vrabel. Robinson, I mean, the drafts are concerning, right?
The past 2 drafts are concerning. Yes.
The past 2 drafts and the 18 draft, and the first-round picks, Conklin not here, Davis not here, Jackson not here, Evans won't be here, Isaiah Wilson not here. I mean, like, that is concerning. I guess deep down inside, I'm kind of fine with it. Then there's the coaching staff stuff. And again, they made it official, the hiring of Tim Kelly as the passing game coordinator, and and Bobby King is the inside linebackers coach. Again, another Vrabel Bobo from Houston. They just love Vrabel, like, if Vrabel's worked with you, he just loves you. Like, everybody that's on this staff either is from Ohio State or Houston, and the guys that aren't, he fires. Like,
does that explain the Tannehill love? I know it's not coaching together.
Where's Tannehill from?
What do you mean?
Where does he know Tannehill from?
The Titans?
Well, I'm talking about, like, the Houston stuff.
No,
I'm talking
I know,
like the Jonathan Josephs and the Javian Clowneys and the Houston Boboery and the Ohio State Boboery. I mean, he's just like Belichick. Belichick loves yes men. And I'm telling you, Vrabel loves yes men. It's so obvious. So anywho, apparently on the team's website where they announce these assistant coaching hires, they have quotes from Vrabel. Here you go. Tim Kelly will help the offense very similar to how Jim Schwartz has on defense in his role.
There it is.
Vrabel said, I really thought that was a positive thing for us. Insert me, even though I won't tell you what Jim Schwartz actually does. Nope. I really thought that was a positive thing for us and think that worked well for our defense, and I want to do the same thing on offense. Tim is a guy I know and have worked with and have watched. Pure Bowery. Here's what they write about Kelly. Kelly, the brother of former Titans offensive lineman Dennis Kelly, couldn't care less, has 8 years of NFL experience, all with the Houston Texans, including 3 seasons as offensive coordinator. In 2020, he led an offense that ranked 4th in passing yards and 13th overall. In 2021, he led an offense that ranked 32nd, dead last in the NFL. So when he's got Deshaun Watson, he's not terrible. When he doesn't have Deshaun Watson, he's terrible. He's not going to have Deshaun Watson here with the Titans. Kelly joined the Texan staff after following Bill O'Brien from Penn State after 3 years of a quality control coach. Pure Bowery. Vrabel says he thinks Titans defensive coordinator Shane Bowen and Jim Schwartz worked well together in 2021, and he believes that Kelly and Todd Downing will do the same. Quote, those are all questions that everyone wants to know, Vrabel said. Okay. Todd is in charge of the offense the same way Shane is in charge of the defense. And it's good to have guys who can help and you can bounce ideas off of and communicate with to help us in any way they can, and that is what Tim is going to do. What does Jim Schwartz do?
They bounce ideas off of each other. He just said it.
That's not a job.
I'm aware.
That is not wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and get into work and leave at 11:50 p.m. and get home for 3 hours and brush your teeth and go to bed and get up and brush your teeth and get back to the office. Like, that is not like grab a cup of coffee and be like, you know what I think we should do? I think we should bring this guy run a slant right here. But I guess that's what they do. You know what, though? The one thing I could say about the Titans, because for years and years, it was out there when Bud Adams was the owner, may he rest in peace, there was this thought that, like, the Titans were like a cheap organization. Titans were 6th in cash spent in the NFL this year, and they just hire whomever onto the coaching staff. So you cannot say that they are a cheap organization anymore. That you better give the Titans their due. They are not a cheap organization. Now, I think there are some people over there that they could give raises to who I would be in favor of.
Such as?
Tina Tuggle. I think they should give her a raise.
Okay.
She does a great job. Vice President of Community Outreach.
Okay.
I think she's fantastic.
Great. I'm sure she's great.
Haas, the equipment manager.
Okay.
I think they got to give Haas a raise over there.
Mm-hmm.
Terry Porch, who does the fields.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think they need to give Terry Porch a raise.
Fields are nice.
Ian, who else were Floyd's people over there?
Vin Marino.
Nah, he kind of likes Vin Marino. Yeah, cap guy. Hey, you know what? If they can get out of Tannehill's contract, Vin Marino.
Everyone gets a raise.
No. Vinny Marino gets a raise if they can get out of Tannehill's contract. If the contract's too much that they can't get out of it, then whatever they're giving John on his extension, deduct that from Vin Marino for not being good enough to keep the Titans out of this mess. Let's go to your phone, 615-737-1025, unless you have a thought.
To the phones.
Phones we go. What do we have? Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
One texter texts in and says, do you think Tim Kelly's hiring could somehow be an early move to make an attempt for Deshaun Watson given everything settles legally? If it doesn't, they haven't given him a critical portfolio anyways.
Ooh.
Very interesting point.
Sounds like a good topic.
Sounds like
a good topic.
Add it to the list.
Does Tim Kelly coming to the Titans mean the Titans could be in play for Deshaun Watson? Let's take your phone calls. No.
Why?
Well, first off, I don't think the Texans, let's say the Texans are going to trade Deshaun Watson, which I don't think they can. But let's say they do. I don't think they're going to trade him to the Titans. I don't think that they're going to trade him to the Titans.
Why?
Because they're in the same division. And they don't like each other.
That's fair.
Now, here's the thing. So, I don't know if they were just joking about this on the Pat McAfee show or if this is actually true. But you know how the Texans were and we'll get to the Texans in a second, but they were going to hire quarterback.
McCown.
Josh McCown.
Yeah.
They were going to hire Josh McCown. Everybody knows this, right?
Yes.
Okay. So they were going to hire.
Even though he's only coached in high school.
Right. So they were going to hire Josh McCown. But basically, everybody in their right mind laughed him out of the building every time they tried. They wanted to hire him last year, but they couldn't. And so they wanted to hire. Apparently, Jack Esterby, who was the team chaplain in New England, who followed O'Brien to Houston, who now is buddies with the owner because they pray together. Apparently, Esterby baptized McCown. And so it's all there's all the, and again, I have no problem with anybody's religion, but I think there should be a separation of church and football state, which is I don't want you to go to the podium after a game and be like, we lost because it was God's plan. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
You lost because you didn't make a tackle. I think we can live with that, right?
Yes, I would back that.
Okay, so the Texans don't operate like that. So they brought, they wanted to bring McCown in. And again, it's thought to be that the owner and the chaplain pray together and their faith ties them together. And then this guy again, I don't know if they were joking about this in the Pat McAfee show or if he actually baptized McCown. I don't know. I think
either is likely.
I think it was serious.
Maybe so. I have no idea.
So let's just say that it is serious.
Sure.
And if it's wrong, then we'll correct it later. So if that's how the Texans are, I mean, I think Tannehill is a pretty big faith guy.
Mm-hmm. He's pretty religious.
I think Tannehill for Deshaun Watson, if Deshaun Watson is innocent, I think that would not, will take the center. And, that would be my call.
Take the center.
That would be my call if I was Robinson. I'd pick up the phone and say, again, if he's innocent.
If he's innocent. That's a huge asterisk there.
And give you Tannehill.
I mean, and what if, Deshaun Watson loves Tim Kelly so much that he tells the Texans, I have to go to Tennessee?
So I have a lot of Texans thoughts that I'll get to in a second, but what else we have in the text line?
Jeremy checks in and says, I really hope that there are clauses in John Robinson's contract about trading for aging players and having dismal drafts.
There are not terms in those contracts.
I don't believe that they would.
This is how every contract works. There's for cause and there's not for cause. And being a bad drafter is not for cause. Beating somebody up in an elevator in Las Vegas like Alvin Kamara did is for cause. Having 22 sexual assault claims against you is, if you're found guilty, is for cause.
Very much so for cause.
So unfortunately, trading for aging players and it's screwing up your cap so you can't get rid of your average quarterback is not for cause, and it will not be in this next contract.
It should be.
No.
It feels football illegal. Another texter checks in and says, hopefully Tim Kelly helps Tannehill not regress. Maybe he's good at development. Davis Mills looked all right for what the Texans were.
I mean, I watched Davis Mills play one game, and it was against the Titans. And I don't know about you guys, but they didn't do anything in the first half, and they lit up the Titans, and they lit up the Titans in the second half.
Yeah, Danny Amendola looked like a Pro Bowler.
But I blame the Titans for that before I give Tim Kelly any credit for that.
Probably.
I don't give Tim Kelly credit for that. Now, again, look. I mean, like, I know who Vrabel talks to in the local press. And deep down inside, just what I have gathered from listening to that, I think Vrabel rather have Tim Kelly than Todd Downing.
As offensive coordinator?
Yes. So what?
Get his own guy in there.
Ian brought up the idea during the break that, is Tim Kelly insurance so that if things go sideways with Downing, you can then switch play callers in the middle of the season. I don't love it, but we wondered that when they brought in Jim Schwartz with Shane Bowen, if that was going to be a situation where, hey, time to, take the play calling away and give it to somebody else. But ultimately, they didn't do that. Here's my concern. Right now, you look at the offense, Saffold's going to be gone. Ben Jones is a free agent. David Quessenberry's a free agent. And Taylor Lewan has a lot of money with no dead cap with it. You have no tight end on the roster because all the guys that played tight end are gone. So you have no tight end on the roster. Nick Westbrook-Akina is a free agent. Marcus Johnson's a free agent. Chester Rogers is a free agent. So you've got A.J. Julio and Des Fitzpatrick. And it's like, you're not going to have the money to go do what you did on defense, which is why I think the defense is better with the money that they spent on Dupree and Autry and Jenkins and all. You're not going to have the money to go do that this offseason. And that's really why I think the defense got better. Not because they brought in Jim Schwartz, but because I think they brought in better players. So I would hold that thought. I would get a little worried about it. 615-737-1025. I do want to touch on the Texans and Lovie Smith because there is some tea there. And I want to get to this, so we will do that coming up next here on Stillman & Company. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Hey, 1025 The Game has your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Daytona 500 presented by Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local, shop social. Be listening during the 4 p.m. hour today for the cue to call for your chance to qualify to win a pair of tickets to the Daytona 500 on Sunday, February 20th, and access to the Fan Zone. Winner will be announced on Friday in the 5 o'clock hour right here on Stillman & Company. Be sure to catch the Daytona 500 on 1025 The Game, Nashville's official home for NASCAR.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Sunshine continues this afternoon. High temperature 56 degrees with 60s possible on Wednesday and Friday and rain possible on Saturday.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Are you a father that is passionate about your fundamental constitutional right to parent your own child or children? Has your parenting time or your income been affected by COVID? This is Amanda J. Gentry, and I am a fierce defender of your constitutional rights. The courts in Tennessee are under an obligation to maximize equal parenting time. We do not live in an every other weekend world anymore. At the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, fathers are extremely important, much like my own father was. Go to AmandaJGentry.com or call or text 615-604-6263. That's AmandaJGentry.com.
At Copper Branch, they live life to the fullest. Food is your energy and your life. Located in the heart of downtown Nashville, their goal is to serve you, your friends, and family quality, great-tasting, plant-based power foods. Visit Copper Branch at 601 Church Street for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with convenient and validated parking during library hours, and download their app for curbside pickup. Or come out for songwriter and live music nights several times throughout the week to empower, energize, and feel your best. Visit Copper Branch today.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, Program Director at 102.5 The Game, and when our crew is out, we want to look our best. Thankfully, we have Authentically American taking care of all of our apparel. The way your team looks is everything. Enhance your company's image with the help of veteran-owned and operated Authentically American. For you parents out there, they'll take care of your kids' team apparel too. It's Authentically American, and yep, it's made in America. Check them out at authenticallyamerican.us. Mention the game and they'll handle the setup and artwork free of charge. That's authenticallyamerican.us.
Hey guys, it's the new year. Are you still struggling with erectile dysfunction? I've yet to meet anyone that enjoys timing those intimate moments around a pill. Well, now you don't have to. The advanced wave technology at Hillside Medical has been shown by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic to restore and even regrow blood vessels. It can improve circulation and eliminate erectile dysfunction. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED, call us in the next 2 minutes and you'll receive a consultation, assessment, and blood flow ultrasound free. Plus, a special gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. You're going to love that. Trust me. This is a $600 value, free to callers now. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, get rid of your ED and get that spark back. Call Hillside Medical now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
Sometimes their glass is half full.
That was unbelievable. It was the best NFL draft they've ever had.
Sometimes glass half empty.
What are we getting ourselves into here? Tough game.
And sometimes it's all about the numbers.
One win, and they've gone on this streak, and now they're at 500.
Hang out with Darren, Donick, and Chase from 10 to 2 during your workday. Presented by Curation CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
I'm a Chicago guy. I'm a Bears fan all my life. I watched and cheered for Lovey. I got to know Lovey a little bit. I mean, he led the Bears to a Super Bowl, all right, with Rex Grossman as the quarterback. He's my quarterback, which got Lovey in some trouble sticking by Rex Grossman every week for years. Nonetheless, how does Lovey Smith, how does he stay out this long? I know he got a shot at Tampa. Don't tell me that. Guys come in all the time who are not coaches of color, and they get a second chance without going to a Super Bowl often. So, I mean, Lovie Smith deserves a chance. He deserved one before now. I wish the Bears hadn't fired him. The Bears are still looking for a coach in the wake of the departure of Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith should have been hired.
There you go, Michael Wilbon, because he's a Bears fan, and Lovie Smith was a Bears coach, is all excited about Lovie Smith to the Texans. Is he the only person in America who actually thinks this is a good coaching hire?
He is the only one that I have heard from so far. I have one friend who was a Texans coach, texted her today. I said, what do you think about the hire? She said, of what? So there you go.
She's a coach on the staff?
No, she's a Texans fan. Did I say coach?
Yeah.
Oh, fan. I'm sorry. Not a coach on the staff.
I didn't even
Texans fan.
I didn't even know those existed.
Texans fans?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're few and far between, but she lives in Houston.
They don't have any fans. And so Lovie Smith is hired as their coach. Now, did you see Brian Flores released a statement yesterday about this?
Yeah, he's not pleased.
Which is
I don't know. What do you want? What do you want?
Wild. So here you go. This is the Brian Flores statement. Mr. Flores is happy to hear that the Texans have hired a black head coach, Lovie Smith, as Mr. Flores' goal in bringing his case to provide real opportunities for black and minority candidates to be considered for the coaching executive positions within the NFL. However, we would be remiss not to mention that Mr. Flores was one of 3 finalists for the Texans head coach position. And after a great interview and mutual interest, it is obvious that the only reason Mr. Flores was not selected was his decision to stand up against racial inequity across the NFL. What butthurtedness. right?
Like, what do you want? I mean, Brian Flores admitted, he's like, I understand that this may jeopardize my opportunity at another head coaching job, but that's okay because I'm doing something else.
And there you go.
And it's a valiant effort, but now he's not pleased.
Like the martyrs,
because he got picked over.
Like the idea of I am sacrificing my career for the betterment of African American coaches.
And I looked at that and I thought, good for you, Brian Flores.
And then a man gets hired in Lovie Smith purely because of this. Now, Nick Caserio, the general manager of the Texans, came out today and said it had nothing to do with why they hired Lovie Smith. Here's what I think happened. This is just, and again, this is me. The owner of the Texans, and remember when I said last week when the Jags hired Doug Peterson, I was like, hold on, like I'm a little nervous about this. Like Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl in Philadelphia. I haven't covered the guy, so I don't know if he's a dope or not. But he might not be a dope. He might be a good coach or at least a good offensive guy, and that might be what blossoms Trevor, and you don't want that. You want the train wreck Urban Meyer. Lovey, I think, belongs at this point in his career to be in the train wreck category. Kind of like if Jeff Fisher were to get rehired as a head coach in the NFL. Like, Jeff Fisher has no business at this point being hired as a coach in the NFL. Lovie Smith, at this point, has no business being hired as a head coach.
But can you put them in the same category as Urban Meyer?
I mean,
I don't think that's fair.
Lovey's not a good coach.
But Urban Meyer?
I mean, again, like Lovey's not going to fix the Texans. And the Texans today know that. Like, they know Lovie Smith. Like, I think the way it was reported yesterday was Lovie Smith is going to be the coach for 2022. Like, wait a minute, what? Like, he's the coach for 2022.
Yes.
Which tells you they're going to do what they did to Culley.
Yeah.
And this is my thing about the Texans, which is 2 years in a row. So Nick Caserio takes the job. And Nick Caserio thinks he is going from New England to Houston to take over a franchise where the owner wants a guy that can be in charge of it, and then he can get out of the way and let Caserio run it. And he's got the quarterback in Deshaun Watson. But Watson is mad because he doesn't want a Patriot guy. So he threatens to not play. And so this is before the sexual assault allegations. So now they have to figure out how to hire a coach because he wanted to hire McDaniels or he wanted to hire a Patriot guy to come in and coach, like Robinson did, bringing in a Patriot guy, Vrabel, to come in here and everybody wants a Patriot way. So he wanted the Patriot way with Deshaun Watson. But Deshaun, because of Bill O'Brien, doesn't want anything to do with the Patriots or the Patriot way, so he threatens to not play because they brought in a Patriot guy. So now, to appease Deshaun, he hires David Culley. And it's like, hey, I hired this guy. He's got no Patriots. He's an offensive guy. He's got tons of experience from the Ravens, which is an anti-Patriots organization. And here you go. But Deshaun, even though they hired David Culley, Deshaun didn't care. So he was like, I'm not going to play for him anyways. Mm-hmm. Then all the other stuff happened with Deshaun. So now that Deshaun is not an option for any reason, he fired the coach that he hired to try to save Deshaun. So he hired a guy he didn't want to hire. Now he gets to go out, fires that guy, and he can go get Flores, who's a Patriot guy, or Mayo, who's a Patriot guy. But now the owner and the chaplain want to hire Josh McCown to come in here and be the coach. And I swear to God, I think they were going to hire Josh McCown.
Which is so laughable.
I know, but again, this owner, Jacksonville's owner's crazy. This owner's crazy. Indy's owner's crazy. And you have to take advantage while the sun's shining. Because they took advantage on you when Bud Adams was going downhill towards the end. So you gotta make hay. And you've made hay because you've won 2 straight division titles. So now Caserio can hire one of his Patriot guys. Flores sues the NFL, so he can't hire him. The owner wants to hire McCown, but he really can't hire him. I think the NFL said to the Texans, you cannot hire Josh McCown. Like, you cannot hire Josh McCown. which the NFL normally should not be allowed to do. But every now and then, behind the scenes, the NFL will flex that muscle. And look, the NFL's shady. They deleted all that Deflategate evidence.
But I don't
They're
even think
totally shady.
I don't even think it's flexing a muscle. I think it's just putting out a fire
Before it happens?
Yes.
Like calling and saying, like, I don't think.
Calling and saying you cannot hire a high school football coach as your head football coach of your NFL organization. No.
I don't think they told the Texans you have to hire a black coach. But I think it was probably implied. And so the Texans.
Why the Texans?
Because they called him to say, don't hire this. You're not hiring McCown.
But I don't think it was because McCown is white.
No, but I think it was part of the discussion.
Maybe so.
And again, isn't that what Brian Flores was suing the league to do? Like, was to get more opportunities?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, aren't there people that, like, let's just say the NFL put pressure on the Texans to hire an African-American coach. Isn't that what people want? Like, to pressure the teams to hire more African-American coaches so that there are more African-American coaches and more opportunities given? So ultimately, this is, in theory, a win for everybody, except for Caserio, who now has hired 2 coaches that he doesn't want to hire. I mean, he thought he was taking over a job where he could run things his way. And he had the quarterback. And now he doesn't have the quarterback because the quarterback doesn't want to do things the Patriot way and has 22 sexual assault claims. And he can't hire who he wants to because he had to appease the quarterback with the first hire. Then the owner wanted to bring in, McCown. And now he's got to hire Lovie Smith. And now he's got to lie about it and say that the Flores lawsuit has nothing to do with hiring Lovie Smith.
But just for 2022.
But just for 2022.
What a mess. What a freaking mess in Houston.
And that's why you got to make hay while the sun shines. Because at some point, either that goofy kid will get kicked out of the league. I mean, he's done so many things that the league's not happy about.
Who was the goofy kid?
Cal McNair.
Okay.
So Bob McNair owned the team.
Yes.
And then, he started the franchise, and then he died in, 2017. Mm-hmm. And the kid took over. And the kid is awful. It's all these kids. The Titans are the
darn kids.
The Titans are like the one franchise in the NFL where the kid might be better than the dad. But all these other ones, Raiders have a kid that's running it. Colts have a kid that's running it. Texans have a kid that's running it. I mean, I'm sure there's 15 others. The Broncos have to sell because the kids can't get it figured out. Mm-hmm. All of this, it's all about, these other guys that were owners, they were decent owners. Now, Irsay in Baltimore and then later Indianapolis, maybe not as much. But these kid owners, it's wild. It is crazy. These guys, they don't know what they're doing. But they inherited the franchise, so they think they know what they're doing, and this is where they are. 615-737-1025. So I think it is good that Lovie Smith is the head coach of the Texans. I think it is good for the Titans because I do not think Lovie is a head coach at this point anymore, like a good head coach anymore at this point in his coaching career. He had a nice little run in Chicago. But, nobody's hiring Lovie Smith. Except the Texans. And nobody's hiring Josh McCown.
Except the Texans want to.
Except the Texans. 615-737-1025. Add that. We'll get into some of those phones. But coming up next, the Boo-Hoo Tannehill crew, at least on the text line, has taken their anger and put it in what I think is the most disrespectful and almost shocking position. We'll explain that next. Stillman & Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Take us wherever you may go.
There is going to be a whole lot of work going on.
Shoot us in anywhere, anytime.
I think he has some big play in him.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Bob's Steak and Chop House is a renowned award-winning steakhouse in major cities across the U.S. Nashville is lucky to have a location here in downtown at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Fine dining is brought to a new level at Bob's with awards like the Wine Spectator Award 4 years in a row, TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence 5 years in a row, and Open Tables Diner's Choice Award 6 years in a row. Fine dining at its best. Bob's Steak and Chop House, open Wednesday through Saturday, 5 to 10 p.m. in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Complimentary valet parking is always available.
Now through February 16th, join a clean and spacious Planet Fitness for zero enrollment and only $10 a month. With tons of equipment and free fitness training, it's the perfect place for everybody to work out.
Even me, Mr. I can't sleep at night, so I keep dozing off during the day.
Especially you, Snoozy. You'll rest easier and feel fit-tacular.
Wait, how did you get in here?
Join in club or at planetfitness.com. Zero enrollment, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends February 16th. See club for details.
Tune in every Wednesday night this hockey season for Smashville Live from 6 to 7 p.m. Smashville Live features exclusive interaction with Nashville Predators players, broadcasters, and celebrities. They'll break down the latest on the ice. Listen every Wednesday night at 6 on ESPN 102.5 The Game, or you can now watch live on thegamenashville.com, Facebook Live, Twitch, and YouTube. Smashville Live is presented by New Amsterdam Vodka, the official vodka of the NHL, Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue, and Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and the NFL season all comes down to this, Super Bowl 56. And to celebrate, FanDuel Sportsbook is hooking all customers up with a risk-free same-game parlay. New and existing customers can place any same-game parlay of 3 legs or more on the Super Bowl, and if you don't win, FanDuel will refund you. Same-game parlays combine multiple bets from the same game into one wager for bigger payouts. For example, you can place a small bet and pick a different player prop, the over-under, the money line, any way you want to take it. I like the Bengals in this matchup in terms of your parlay bets. Give me Joe Burrow over on passing yards. Give me Jamar Chase over on receiving yards. But you take it any way you want to take it. Also, new customers, you can join today with promo code ROB. Enjoy 56-1 odds on either team to win the Super Bowl. You can turn a $5 bet into $280 cash. Once again, that promo code is ROB. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. A max refund of $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County,
ESPN
102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Trevor Maddich, his thoughts on the Senior Bowl. We'll get into that coming up. The quarterbacks specifically, could any of them please come in and replace Ryan Tannehill? By the way, Desmond Ridder, what a suck-up. Goes to the Senior Bowl and says that he models his game after Tannehill. Nobody models their game after Tannehill. That's like if you were to see jerseys on sale, like at a local sporting goods store. I don't even know if those still exist anymore.
Yeah.
I take that back. I went to Dick's Sporting Goods over the weekend.
They definitely exist.
But do they still sell jerseys there?
Yeah.
Like
I think
all
so.
the team jerseys and stuff?
Yeah.
I remember you used to go
What
to
else do they sell?
a Champ Sports in the mall back in the day. And they used to have all these jerseys up there. And I knew that Vince Young was a bigger star than people were giving him credit for, because I was at a Champ Sports in Atlanta, and it was Michael Vick, Calvin Johnson, all these good players, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Vince Young. And I'm like, whoa, for Vince Young to make it to the Champ Sports in Atlanta tells you something.
Pretty big news.
Nobody's going to get a Tannehill.
Not outside of Tennessee.
That is not a thing. In fact, one of these people put out the number one jersey seller in every state, and Brady has 15. Tennessee, the number one jersey seller is Derrick Henry, which is why I want to get to this, which is something that is totally out of my orbit. But because you're in charge of the text line, and our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com, you had told me yesterday, and I wanted to talk about this on the air. I wanted to discuss this. You said that the text line has turned a lot of their anger towards Tannehill, or the discussions about Tannehill, and have turned it towards Derrick Henry. So please explain, what is this phenomenon that you are starting to see from the Boohoo Tannehill crew?
I started seeing it the first Monday after the loss to the Bengals.
So right after it was over?
Right after it was over, when we were complaining about Ryan Tannehill, when we said this loss was on his shoulders, because it was. there were a lot of texters texting in about, well, what if Derrick Henry would have run more? Derrick Henry didn't play a good game either. Derrick Henry only had 60-something yards. This team could have beaten the Bengals if Derrick Henry just would have pulled his own weight. And we got a text in the text line yesterday from Andrew that says the biggest mistake the Titans make is staying with running the ball 35 times a game. It hasn't and won't in the future win them a Super Bowl. Trade Derrick Henry and get a modern offense. Yes, Tannehill sucked, but Derrick sucked, explicit word, two playoff games in a row as well, and points out Derrick Henry's stats versus Deontay Foreman's. And that's not just one of one. That's one of many texts that I have seen of saying Derrick Henry doesn't do enough. Derrick Henry is the reason why the Titans lost that game.
So you think that the Boohoo Tannehill crew has decided that it's not a blanket statement to say that the Boohoo Tannehill crew is turning like our disappointment in Ryan Tannehill into a discussion, basically into a whataboutism featuring Derrick Henry.
It's not a blanket statement because there are people saying, well, what if Tannehill had a tight end? It's Todd Downing's fault. What do you expect when all the players are injured? It's just one game.
Okay, so if this were Family Feud and there was a board and it was like we surveyed 100 people who are Tannehill deniers, who deny the obvious fact that he cost them the Bengals game, which the Titans general manager all but admitted in his conversation with Jim Wyatt, what would the number one answer be?
Tight end.
Number 2.
Derrick Henry.
Number 3.
Todd Downing.
So you think there's more Derrick Henry blame than there is Todd Downing blame?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
Uh-huh. And I really started seeing that. I mean, when Derrick Henry was injured, through the vibe through the text line was, we just got to wait to get Derrick Henry back. We just got to wait to get Derrick Henry back. Once Derrick Henry gets back, then this entire team, this entire offense will look different. And then after the playoff game, after the loss to the Bengals, and it wasn't necessarily the same people, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but just the general vibe in the text line was, well, Derrick Henry needs to do more. Derrick Henry only ran for 62 yards. How do you expect this team to score any points when your main guy only gets limited to 60-something points? Does Derrick Henry choke in the playoffs? That's what I've seen a lot of.
Okay, so let's kick it around the room. What do we think? Let me start. No. I have a couple thoughts on this. Number 1, Derrick Henry was hurt. We knew Derrick Henry was hurt. They knew Derrick Henry was hurt. We talked about it on air at length. Does Derrick need to play in the Texan game in order to get his feet under him, in order to be ready to go? And because of the field turf, they determined that the answer was no. Now, do they regret that? I don't know if they regret that. Was Derrick ready to play that week of the Texans? I don't know. All I know is that TD said, and Tehran's got some pretty good sources, TD said that the Titans were not going to play him against the Texans no matter what because of that field turf, and that the number 1 seed, wasn't locked up, but they still weren't going to play him. The second thing is the Titans ran the ball for 140 yards against the Bengals. Now, look, Foreman had 66 of that, pretty much all on one carry when he busted a 45-yard run. But for the total game, they had 140 yards. Derrick Henry had a touchdown. And I felt like that one touchdown drive that they had after they had gotten themselves up off the mat, down 6-0, I thought, okay. Now, again, they stupidly went for 2, which you can blame the coach for. But I felt like on that drive, there was a lot of Derrick looking like Derrick. Derrick gets his 120 because he pops one big one a game. That's when Derrick gets it. Derrick doesn't get 9 yards a crack. Derrick goes 3, 6, 4, 6, 3, 2, -1, 55. Like, that's what Derrick does. Foreman got you the big run. In my opinion, the way that they ran the football in the playoff game, 27 carries for 140 and a touch, that's a Derrick line. Like, they got Derrick's stats out of the Bengals game, except that Derrick didn't do it all by himself. The second thought I have with this, or I guess the third, because the first is we all have to account for the fact that Derrick was hurt. The second thing is they got 140. The third thing is the drive where they were running the ball effectively, where Foreman got the big run. Guess why it stopped? Because Tannehill threw an interception. The third and 1 where they didn't get it. Guess why they didn't get it? Because Tannehill didn't give the ball to the running back. I mean, how ungrateful must these people be to be putting blame on Derrick Henry instead of being real with themselves and realizing that the quarterback is to blame. To put it on Derrick Henry. You want to put on the offensive coordinator? I can listen to that. Again, I don't know the play calls. I don't know the schemes. Even if I knew the schemes, I probably don't know enough about it to be able to judge. And besides, these people, they just hired the 32nd ranked offensive coordinator, and people think that this is a big addition. So I don't know how we judge play callers anymore. But again, you want to put on the offensive coordinator? Fine, do that. You do it. You want to say it's because they don't have a tight end? I don't totally agree with that. But I do know Steve McNair needed tight ends. So fine. All right, whatever. Ferkser's a bum. I get it. Derrick Henry? Like, you're going to put this on Derrick Henry. And again, the Bengals are in the Super Bowl. And the more and more I think about this, the more and more I think the Bengals are going to win. I was thinking about it yesterday. I think McVay chokes in big games like he did in his first Super Bowl when they scored 3 points. And I just think Joe Burrow is too cool. So the Bengals might win the Super Bowl. Again, even though I've said during the week I think the Rams are going to win, I'm starting to lean Bengals. I haven't made my official prediction yet, but I'm starting to lean Bengals. This is why I hate these FanDuel ads when they make us say like who we're going to pick, because I don't know, but I'm leaning Bengals right now. This team may win the Super Bowl. And you want to blame Derrick Henry? And you want to say that that offensive style doesn't work? It worked against the Bills. It worked against the Chiefs. Why would this not work? Yes, look, every single team in the NFL that plays the Titans is going to make the Titans throw the ball. Floyd used to always say it. You can always stop the run if you want, because you can send one more than they can block. So if you've got 6 guys blocking, they can send 7, and you can't block 7 guys with 6. And every team you play is going to do that. Especially in the playoffs. Derrick Henry is Barry Bonds, and they are not going to let him beat them. Belichick did it, and it was a huge mistake. But everybody else is not going to let Derrick take over the game. So what do you do when a team is committed to not letting Derrick take over the game? You have to hit the throws down the field. Tannehill missed on a deep ball to A.J. Brown. That would have been a touchdown. Tannehill threw 3 interceptions. Tannehill gave the Bengals the lead. Tannehill never put you in a position to where you could dictate the terms of the game. And you're going to blame Derrick Henry? How disrespectful. I mean, seriously. How disrespectful. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Are people actually mad at Derrick Henry? Are people actually blaming Derrick Henry and not Tannehill for the situation the Titans find themselves in? We'll get to your phones on it next. 615-737-1025. Stillman and Company right here on ESPN 1025 The Game. Let me tell all the fine folks out there, when the Preds have a weekday game this season, it's your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click, brought to you by New Amsterdam Vodka. If you guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the game that night, you'll win a pair of tickets to a future Preds home game. Your next chance to win is tomorrow morning at 8:45 a.m. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Here they come, turn 4, final.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe. Join me every Sunday morning at 8 as we take a look around the world of auto racing and talk to some of the biggest names and cover the biggest events like the Daytona 500. It's all presented by Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local, shop social, and listen on ESPN 1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Presented for the people by Caesars Sportsbook. We are all Caesars. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up.
Shop today at Social Furniture during their President's Day sale. You'll find everything for your home on sale now. They have same-day delivery for your convenience and pay nothing down today. Use Social Furniture financing plan and pay no interest for 1 full year. For a limited time, they have designer sofas, solid wood bedroom furniture, leather sofas, and sectionals in stock now. They can deliver any size mattress the same day during their President's Day sale going on now through President's Day. Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local. Shop social.
Thinking about making a change? You've put in the years and had success, but ready for something more? Well, good news. Little Guys Movers is looking for folks just like you to own and operate their very own Little Guys Movers franchise. From Broadway to Brentwood to Mount Juliet, if you can hear my voice, there's an affordable, profitable Little Guys franchise opportunity nearby. Use your existing 401k to invest in yourself. Financing options are available. Join a team with 30-plus years of growth and good times. Learn more at littleguysfranchise.com and then make that call.
If you're on the job day in and day out, you know living with pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulders is miserable. The good news, QC Kinetics gets it. They understand guys like you.
They don't have the luxury of taking time off. They want to keep working. We are built for those guys that want to keep working and want to stay active. So the vast majority of who we see are the blue-collar guys like me and you.
QC Kinetics uses biologic therapies, just like pro athletes have used for years, to get you lasting pain relief with no surgery.
I want you to continue working. I want you to continue exercising. The joints are made to be moved.
The treatments at QC Kinetics are fast and non-invasive.
It's not a lot of time commitment on your part. There is no downtime or recovery time. You don't need short-term disability with what we do. We want to keep you active.
Call QC Kinetics now to set up your free no-obligation consultation. Learn how you can get real pain relief.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024.
Valentine's Day is next week, and Nashville's Best Deals is a great place to score last-minute deals. Right now at thegamenashville.com/deals, you can get $50 off to the Woodhouse Spa, half off dining at the Mainstay and Hard Rock Cafe, half off to Brooklyn Bowl, plus $50 free with a purchase of $100 in downtown dollars. Get all these great deals now at thegamenashville.com/deals. Nashville's Best Deals is your place for Valentine's Day steals.
Got a party of 10 coming in, and we need to flip those 2 tables.
Leah's restaurant is fully booked night after night.
Section 3 is still behind.
She no longer has reservations about finally finding a hostess.
Why doesn't 23 have menus? Oh, because they're in my hand.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
What did Derek do today versus what I think he came out okay. I meant there was some, probably some runs he'd like to have back and a lot of, blocking that could be better. But, we did get into a flow, I thought, of running the football. And then they loaded up, and they did a good job. They had some guys that were in there grinding away on the run. And, we know how hard it is to run against, some of those D linemen that they have.
There you go. That was Mike Vrabel. So I've got this feeling, again, going back to all these people that are apparently that have flooded Caroline's text line in blaming. So basically, to defend Tannehill, they're blaming Henry for the Bengals' loss.
Yes.
I was just thinking about this. You can do that in any sport, which is like if a goalie lets in 7 goals in a hockey game, you'd be like, well, why didn't they score 8? I mean, if one of those guys had scored 8, then it wouldn't have mattered that they gave up 7 goals. But we know that that's not really how this works. Mm-hmm. Like, could Derek have played better in the Bengals game that could have avoided all of Ryan Tannehill's mistakes so that they could have won? Yes. Instead of the ones before he threw interceptions, Derek could have taken the ball and ran 80 yards into the end zone for a touchdown.
Which would be great.
But again, I mean, I think it's ridiculously inaccurate to blame Derrick Henry for the Bengals' loss, especially when they ran the ball for 140 yards in that game.
And instead of blaming Derrick Henry for not picking up Tannehill's mess, why don't you blame Tannehill for making a mess? I think it's so incredibly spoiled to point at Derrick Henry and say, oh, he only had 60-something yards. That's not a bad day for a running back. That's just not what you are used to with your running back. 60-something yards is nothing to turn your nose up at. That's not a bad day.
Plus, the other guy got 62, so you had 120 yards on the ground.
Yes.
Which is what you get from Derrick. You got a Derrick performance out of Derrick and Foreman. You got it. Now, Caroline may have been right on something that we haven't touched much on, which is before the game, I was like, you got to give the rock to Derrick. And it's like, well, what if Derrick's not getting it done? And Derrick was getting it done, just not at, he hadn't busted one yet. But I was like, I don't know. But then when Foreman busted that run, I was like, I don't know, man. You might want to give the ball to Foreman, which was something I was against during the week. But Foreman.
You thought I was crazy.
I mean, they still ended up doing what I said they should do, which was keep giving the ball to Derek.
Yes.
And I guess Derek could have busted one when the Bengals knew that the Titans didn't want Tannehill to throw the ball in the last drive of the game. So they ran Derek twice, trying to run the clock out to keep the ball out of Burrow's hands. And like the Titans were trying to keep it out of both their quarterback and the other team's quarterback's hands at the end of the game, which is very difficult to do. Let's go to your phone. 615-737-1025. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. Jason is going to kick us off this hour on Derrick Henry. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Jason.
Hey, I just wanted to touch a little bit on the – sorry for the noise. Give me 1 second.
Just go. Talk.
I'm sorry. With the Derrick Henry thing, why even put him in if y'all aren't – you said he's 100%. He should have been running the ball the whole time then. Don't put Foreman in. If he was running that ball on that long run instead of Foreman, he probably would have scored a touchdown. It's just because he's got the better speed and the more, the stronger of the two.
I mean, Derrick Henry played because he's Derrick Henry. Thank you for your call. He's Derrick Henry. And again, Derrick Henry gave you a performance that was good enough to win. Derrick Henry was fine. Just like everybody else was fine. Everybody on the Titans did their job except for one guy.
Ryan Tannehill.
This is the one thing. You normally will never see this in a football game. Now, again, this goes back to Vrabel's point about how this isn't going to be about one guy because one person could have done something different. Fulton missed the tackle on Jamar Chase. Fulton's not supposed to make that tackle on Jamar Chase. Like, that's why on that play, which was a bad play call by Shane Bowen, but on that play, I saw that Fulton was pressed up on Chase with no safety help over the top, and I see Burrow standing under center, and he's demanding the ball. And
I know exactly where I'm going.
Well, I look up at the scoreboard because, they've had some delay of games that you already heard them in the game, and I look up at the Jumbotron, and it's at 12. And it's at 12 because Burrow's seeing the same thing I'm seeing. He wants the ball so he can get it out to Chase, and then Chase makes Fulton miss, and they still stop them, and I believe they held him to a field goal on that drive. And so, yes, okay, well, maybe if Fulton jumps it and intercepts it and runs it back for a touchdown, you're good. But again, asking people to do what they're responsible for doing, every single person on the Titans did their job. It wasn't perfect, but everybody on the Titans did their job outside of Kari Blasingame dropping one pass. Other than that, everybody did what they were supposed to do except for Tannehill. And I just don't understand. Even the Titans have basically admitted that Tannehill blew the game. When Robinson says, I'm not going to make, one evaluation off of micro evaluation of one game, he's telling you Tannehill blew the game. Here's the best part about it, though. Nobody holds Tannehill responsible for that Ravens game, and I do. I think the Tannehill arguments, for me, it's very binary. Either he's your guy or he's not your guy. You blow the Ravens game, you have a bad season where you look like you regress and you poop your pants and you do things like fumble the snap against the Steelers or throw short of the chains on fourth down, and then you have a bad playoff game. I'm done. You've done enough. You stink. Goodbye. Get out. Well, 2 years ago, Jared, I don't care. Whatever the reason was for what happened 2 years ago, it's gone, and you can't bring it back because you can't pay for it because you're paying him too much money. So he stinks. I don't need to hear any other thing. I feel like everybody breaks it up, though, because it's well, Tannehill had a bad playoff game. Well, that's one game. Okay, well, he had a bad season. Well, but all the guys were hurt, so that's why he had a bad season.
They weren't hurt against the Bengals.
But they weren't hurt against the Bengals. But that's one game. Are you going to judge a guy off of one game? Well, what about the Ravens game? Well, that was one game last year. It's nobody pieces it all together. It's all one giant resume. And the resume is that unless everything is good around you, you stink.
And that's exactly what Mike Vrabel said.
And
you got to be great around him.
You can win a Super Bowl with Nick Foles doing that. You don't need to pay $30 million for the quarterback to do it. And that's the problem. And I don't think Tannehill plans on taking a pay cut, though he should. If I was Tannehill, I'd go today to John Robinson and be like, I'll take an $8 million pay cut. I will take. Now, he won't. And again, but I mean, if he did that, the amount of pressure that would come off of him for doing that would be immense. What do we have in the text line?
Sam in Franklin texts in and says, Titans fans blaming Derrick Henry have lost their damn minds. He got hurt, rehabs, makes it back, and this is the support we show for our big guy. Tough to let the big dog eat if the quarterback is throwing his bone to the wrong pack.
Well, and not only that, too, on like the Derrick Henry front, is when the Titans really got some good drives going, like when they really got some good drives going, Tannehill wouldn't turn the ball over.
I mean, that was the first kind of surge that I felt in the game after Tannehill threw the first pick. The surge of kind of momentum and confidence for that team came from Derrick Henry.
I felt like they had to dig themselves out of the hole. Once they did that was after the A.J. Brown touchdown, where it was like, okay, now, things are. But when I felt like they were digging themselves out of the hole on the Foreman run, and then all the momentum goes right out of the bag. The only other thing to blame was Vrabel going for 2, which was stupid. And again, I just wish coaches understood the importance of momentum. It's like all these coaches think they're so much smarter than everybody else. If the Chargers coach would have kicked field goals during the regular season, they would have been in the playoffs. If the Titans coach had kicked the extra point, they would have had a 7-6 lead and would have made Burrow at some point play from behind. Now, would they have won the game? I don't know, because Poopy Pants wants to throw the ball to the other team. Maybe it wouldn't have made a difference. But I thought that was a big momentum moment where the Titans played like crap for a quarter and a half, scored a touchdown, and were going to have the lead. And it was like after all of that, you're back in the lead, and then you give the Bengals all the momentum right back. And if Kansas City had just kicked a field goal before halftime, they probably win the AFC Championship. But everybody thinks they know everything now, and everybody wants to go for it, and everybody's too smart. And so now the analytics say go for it, and all these teams are at home because the one team that likes kicking field goals, the Bengals, who will kick a field goal from anywhere because they got Johnny Strongleg, and he goes up there and drills it from 58, they're still playing. Unbelievable.
Just when we thought quarterback talk was over, the door swung wide open with this one, with a new name that we haven't talked about. Tannehill is to blame, as well as the offensive coordinator. I blame the offensive coordinator more than Tannehill, but why not trade Tannehill today? Go get Baker Mayfield. Let him come back from his injury. Step up. The Titans are not going to get Rodgers. The Titans are not going to get Russell. Mayfield may just be the best upgrade possible from Tannehill.
Here's why you can't get Baker Mayfield. Cleveland won't do it. Cleveland's on it. Cleveland won't do it.
I don't think they will either.
They won't do it for this reason. Now they don't like Baker, but they're in the same spot that the Titans were 2 years ago when Mariota and Jameis Winston entered their fifth-year options. And it's kind of like, all right, Marcus, this is up to you, and if you fail, you've got to go. Same with Jameis. And they both failed. So then they left. So you're not on the hook for anything with Baker one way or another, and it's kind of binary. And then you can go get another quarterback if he stinks, or you have a good enough team that you can, showcase it to other people. Or if Baker plays great and you've got a good team and you win a lot of games, you just franchise Baker. So they're in an okay spot. And so they're not going to go ahead and take on Tannehill and try to teach him a new offense with all this, when they can just say, all right, Baker, sink or swim, knock yourself out. And then if not, they can go get a free agent quarterback. 615-737-1025. Trevor Maddich will join us next, ESPN college football analyst. What did he think of the quarterbacks at the Senior Bowl? And can any of these guys be available at 26 and save the Titans? That's next here. Stillman & Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game. Let me tell people about the opportunity to win a Predators Stadium Series jersey. That's right. With our friends, I believe, at Blood Assurance. The way to get that done is enter to win to the contest by texting, presented by Blood Assurance. Text in the keyword Smashville now to the game text line 615-737-1025 for your chance to win a 2022 Stadium Series Nashville Predators jersey. Text now Smashville to Smashville, SMASHVILLE, to 615-737-1025 to get qualified to win. Stillman & Company, Trevor Maddich next, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Jump in the mind of an NHL veteran as Predators analyst Hal Gill joins Stillman & Company Tuesday afternoons at 5:30.
Here they are in a pressure situation every night because they need 2 points.
And Robbie and Rexroad Thursday mornings at 9:30.
Goaltending, I think it might be an issue at some point.
Presented by Duncan on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Care has the power to bring kindness where it's needed. It brings out the best in every one of us. It doesn't just see people. It takes time to understand them. It puts the needs of others ahead of its own. And when you start with care, you end up with a very different kind of bank. Truist. Truist Bank, member FDIC.
Now through February 16th, join a clean and spacious Planet Fitness for zero enrollment and only $10 a month. With tons of equipment and free fitness training, it's the perfect place for everybody to work out.
Even me, Mr. I can't sleep at night, so I keep dozing off during the day.
Especially you, Snoozy. You'll rest easier and feel fit-tacular.
Wait, how did you get in here?
Join in club or at planetfitness.com. Zero enrollment, $10 a month, cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends February 16th. See club for details.
Genesis Diamonds has everything you need to create the perfect Valentine's experience. A romantic gift, some fresh flowers, chocolates, and dinner out on us. That's right. Genesis has put together the ultimate Valentine's package. When you buy any piece of jewelry for just $99 or more, we'll give you a bouquet of flowers from Jenny's Flowers, some yummy chocolates, and a gift card for dinner at STK Steakhouse. At Genesis, love and romance are what we do best. So we've created this amazing one-stop offer so you can spend quality time with the one you love this Valentine's. We've pulled together some wonderful Valentine gift ideas as well. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, affordable, timeless gifts she can enjoy for years. So bring the sparkle and the romance with one-stop shopping at Genesis. Spend just $99 or more with us and get the flowers, the chocolates, and a gift card for dinner as our gift. Happy Valentine's Day from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Limited quantity. See store for details.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and I'm excited to tell you about our friends at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and their heating and air stimulus plan. If your AC or heating unit is old and inefficient, then you need to take advantage of their special offer right now. They will double your tax refund up to $1,000. Huge savings with Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Get a York unit that lasts with a 10-year parts and labor warranty with up to 60 months, no interest financing on all York units. Restrictions do apply. Schedule now at springhillac.com. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, a York certified comfort expert company.
Mark Howard here to tell you about my friends at Apple Collision Centers. We all know being in a collision is not fun. Neither is all the stress that comes with it. And that's where Apple Collision comes in. Let them take care of everything for you. That's insurance, repair, and your rental details. They've got 3 convenient locations in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Their managers, Tommy Rippey, Daniel Neville, and Chris Brooks and Marty Denson, combined for over 75 years experience. So stop in today and tell them Mark sent you. Online at applecollisioncenters.com.
So, I just picked out the perfect ring, and that night my girlfriend started seeing ads for wedding dresses. I haven't even popped the question yet. Why is she seeing ads for things based on what I'm looking at online? I downloaded the DuckDuckGo app, and I stopped getting creepy ads right away.
DuckDuckGo is the easy button for privacy. With one simple download, you can search, browse, and email privately. Take back your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Presented by FreedomTireGuys.com, Nashville's premier mobile tire company. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, this is new Vanderbilt head coach Jerry Stackhouse. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
I want to tell you about a coach who's going to make the Hall of Fame in the NFL, who had an okay quarterback, who lost his first year, went 11-5, lost in the wild card round, 0-1, then went 11-5, then went 9-7, then went 11-5, and lost in the divisional round, won a wild card game over Brian Hoyer and the Texans, then went 12-4 and went 0-1 and lost in the divisional round, then went 10-6, won his division and lost in the wild card game to Marcus Mariota and the Titans, and then all of a sudden, AFC Championship game, Super Bowl, AFC Championship game. That man is Andy Reid. Because Andy Reid, unlike the Titans who held the 5th pick in that draft and drafted Corey Davis, Andy Reid knew that Patrick Mahomes was the guy. In fact, Brent Veach, who was not the general manager then, is the general manager now. Brent Veach went to Andy Reid and was like, I got to show you this quarterback on tape. And it was the kid from Texas Tech. And he was the savior. And the Senior Bowl is now in the background. Only Matt Corral did not participate in the Senior Bowl of the big-time quarterbacks. Carson Strong did. Malik Willis had a great Senior Bowl. Kenny Pickett had a great Senior Bowl. Desmond Ridder went there and told everybody that he models his game after Ryan Tannehill. And Trevor Maddich joins us now, ESPN college football analyst, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. Trev, I'm going to ask it to you like this. Can any of these Titans, can any of these quarterbacks that you saw in the Senior Bowl, can they save the Titans? And will any of them that can save the Titans be available where the Titans pick at 26?
I don't think any of them can save the Titans. I think if you're going to have one that has the best chance to come in and save the Titans, to put it your way, I would phrase it differently. It would be Kenny Pickett out of Pitt, but I don't think he's going to fall that far. I mean, there's a chance he could fall far enough to be in range if the Titans want to trade up for him, because on one of the days in Senior Bowl practice, it was rainy and windy, and he didn't drive the ball very well. I mean, Malik Willis of Liberty drove the ball right through that as if the weather didn't exist. Kenny Pickett struggled in that situation. Then the next day they went indoors and practiced, and he was great again. And there's a big controversy about whether Kenny Pickett's hands are too small to play in the NFL. So that might sour some teams on Pickett and might let him drop far enough to be within range of a trade up by the Titans. But of all the quarterbacks that are going to be available in the draft, if you're going to trust any of them to step in and be, playoff and even get to the Super Bowl caliber within the first 2 or 3 years of his career, Pickett's the only one that even has a chance, in my opinion.
So people say this is a bad quarterback draft. We went over all the quarterbacks a couple weeks ago, but I do wonder this. Like, what does that really mean? Because 1984 didn't have a quarterback go in the first round, but Boomer Esiason was an NFL MVP and went to a Super Bowl, and Jeff Hostetler, who was the second quarterback, also in the second round, won a Super Bowl. So is that a good quarterback draft because every team could get those guys and everybody missed, or is that a bad quarterback draft?
Yeah, it just depends on your team. That's it. Right now you talk about 2 years ago, the Bengals had a good quarterback draft, right?
Sure.
They got Joe Burrow. But the Rams would say they had a bad quarterback draft. A few years before that, when they picked Jared Goff and they traded him away for Matthew Stafford, and he'll be starting in the Super Bowl for the Rams this year, and the guy they drafted in the first round is off playing for the Lions now in that trade. And so it really depends on who you're talking about. Jared, if you go back to look at the last dozen or so Super Bowls and look at the team, the starting quarterbacks for each team, and look at where they were drafted. Were they drafted in the top half of the first round, or in the bottom half of the first round, or not in the first round at all, or not drafted by the team that they started for in the Super Bowl? And if you count everybody just once, so only count Tom Brady once, only count the Mannings once, that's it, so we don't have it skewed by Brady being in there a million times.
Sure.
What you find is that you've got about a 50-50 chance to have gotten your Super Bowl starting quarterback, win or lose, whether or not you take him in the top 15 picks or 16 picks or somewhere below that, right? I mean, Russell Wilson wasn't a first-round pick. Drew Brees was a second-round pick and by the San Diego Chargers, and he was traded to New Orleans. So you just go down and look at that. Now, what changes that statistically for all the math wonks out there is that a lot more quarterbacks are taken outside the first half of the first round, right? And so your odds technically are better to find that guy in the first half of the round. But the point is that it's still a roll of the dice. And anymore, because of the structure of the rookie salary cap, teams are no longer forced to stay committed to their first-round draft choice quarterback if he doesn't look like towards the end of his rookie contract he's going to get it done. They'll just move on from the guy. Look at what the Jets did with Sam Darnold. Didn't feel like he was going to be the guy, so bam, they got rid of him and drafted another one. And so, drafting a quarterback high is not a panacea. It might work out like Joe Burrow, but it might work out like Sam Darnold. And you just have to flip the coin and hope you get the right guy. That's why I think that the Titans are better off staying with the guy they got at quarterback and maximizing Derrick Henry. And when Henry starts to lose tread on the tires, now I think you can talk about, getting in a quarterback that might take a few years to develop. But I think I'm in the minority in this town when it comes to that.
Well, the other thought, too, Trevor's with us, like Desmond Ridder went up to the podium at the Senior Bowl and said that he models his game after Deshaun Watson and Ryan Tannehill. And I thought that was a total suck-up response because, and then I connected the dots, right? Like, I think Luke Fickell was the best man in Vrabel's wedding. Fickell was the one that interim year at Ohio State that got Vrabel into coaching. They're best buds. And so it wouldn't surprise me if Vrabel had talked to Fickell and they had talked about Ridder, and Fickell had told Ridder, hey, they're interested in you. And then all of a sudden he goes to the combine and goes, yeah, I kind of modeled my game after Ryan Tannehill. Wink, wink. Pick me at 26, Titans. Could Ridder be a guy?
He could be a guy. I wouldn't count on him as a fan to step in next year or even the year after that and upgrade the quarterback position over Ryan Tannehill. But if you want to take him at that point, thinking that he could be the guy in 3 or 4 years, then I wouldn't have a problem with it. But again, there's all kinds of things that are red flags about all of these quarterbacks, really. And for Ridder, it's that he's disappeared too many times against mediocre to poor college competition. I mean, teams that he should have just lit up. There was long stretches of a game, a quarter, a half, where it's like he wasn't even on the field. And part of that was due to inaccuracy. Part of it was, missing guys entirely. Part of that was being fixated on one receiver when he should have been scanning the field to find a different guy in the progression. And then all of a sudden he looked fantastic. But against poor college competition, he didn't always dominate. And that worries me because is he going to come in his first 2 years and upgrade the quarterback position against the Kansas City Chiefs when he couldn't do it against Navy and Tulane? That's what I worry about if people are counting on, a guy like Ridder to come in and right away maximize Derrick Henry. Now, could he? Yeah. Could I be wrong? I hope so because I really like Desmond Ridder. And I think he does have an NFL future. I just wouldn't count on him for the first 2 or 3 years.
I tell you, if he just stares down his receivers and doesn't go through his progressions and throws interceptions, I do think maybe then he models his game after Tannehill a little bit. I mean, that might be what he means by that one. I mean, goodness gracious. What about Malik Willis? I mean, apparently Mike Tomlin is obsessed with him. I almost wonder, Trev, if Tomlin is sending a smoke signal. Like, he doesn't want people to know that he loves Pickett, so instead he's going to go pretend like he loves Willis, so that'll send a smoke signal to, hey, don't look at my guy. I don't know. But it did look like Malik Willis, I watched a little bit of the Senior Bowl. It looks like, he moves around. I wouldn't say it's like Lamar Jackson, but it feels like if you commit to Malik Willis, you got a guy, I think maybe a better arm than Jackson, but you're going to have to commit the offense to Malik Willis as well. What did you think of him?
Yeah, you would. You'd have to think of him like a Jalen Hurts of Philly.
He's better than Jalen Hurts.
Runner. What's that?
He's better than Jalen Hurts, right?
Yeah, as a passer. But here's the thing. First of all, if Tomlin is a smokescreen, and if it's well known out there, it likely is a smokescreen. I don't know that Pickett would be the guy, although he would know Pickett well because the Pitt Panthers, their facility is in the same building. I mean, the same building, not even the same complex.
Same situation. They passed on Dan Marino in '83, Trev.
Yeah, well, everybody passed on Dan Marino, so I guess nobody knew about Dan Marino. But so he would know Pickett. He would understand. He would be over there talking to the Pitt coaches and all that stuff to figure out, what about that guy. But maybe it's Pickett that they really want if it is a Malik Willis smokescreen. I'm thinking it's more likely Matt Corral. But, it'd be interesting to see. Willis, because in Pittsburgh, you have to be able to drive the ball through weather. That's one of the things that made Ben Roethlisberger such a perfect fit there. But Willis has the arm strength of Roethlisberger, possibly even more. I mean, he can throw the ball through a brick wall 70 yards away. It is phenomenal, his arm strength. He relies on his fastball a bit too much. So he'll have balls that he should take some speed off of and put a little touch on it. And often he'll still try to drill a hole right through his receiver. And that's something you can't get away with in the NFL because defenses will take away those laser throws and make you throw the more complex throw over the top of somebody and then drop it in before the safety gets there, kind of a thing. And Willis has not shown an ability to do that consistently. It doesn't mean that he can't, but just at Liberty he didn't do it. That's what I worry about. I also worry that 2 years ago, Willis had a much better season than he did last year, when opposing defensive coordinators got a real feel for what he could do well and what he didn't do well. He's got a laser for an arm. He is amazing as a runner. I mean, I think he led the Senior Bowl in rushing, I believe. Certainly he ran well. But I worry about the subtlety and nuance of his ability to fit passes into NFL windows, and I wonder how soon he'll be ready to go from a mental standpoint. You said commit to him. That's one thing that Tomlin would need to do if they do draft him, is commit to what he does well, which is why I mentioned Jalen Hurts, because Philly tried to make Jalen Hurts into Carson Wentz when he first began to start, and then they realized about midway through the season, certainly this year, that wasn't going to work. And they needed to let Hurts be Hurts. And they started to let him run more, call quarterback runs, read options, all kinds of things like that. And that's when Philly's offense became the best rushing offense in the NFL statistically through that stretch later in the season. And I think with Willis, you'll kind of have to do that, because if you try to turn him into Ben Roethlisberger, you'll have the same problem that Philly had with Jalen not playing to his strengths as a young starter.
Trev, I want to get some other Senior Bowl thoughts from just guys that played well and position groups. I want to do that. But also, coming up next, we got to talk about the Auburn Tigers. Goodness gracious. What a mess at Auburn. Trevor's thoughts on it next. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Drivers, start your engines!
Be the first caller at 615-737-1025. You'll qualify for a pair of tickets to see the Great American Race, the Daytona 500, on February 20th, presented by Social Furniture. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Another mainly clear sky as we head into the evening hours for tonight as temperatures drop back into the low 30s. On our way to the low 60s heading into Wednesday, we'll keep that sky mainly sunny conditions. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Victory Award-winning New Amsterdam Vodka knows all about it, but in life, it's not always so clear. So New Amsterdam Vodka believes that in life, you've got to find your own wins. You've got to overcome your fears, go all in, even when you've got nothing at all. Find your wins. And when you do, raise that glass of New Amsterdam Vodka in victory. You've earned it. New Amsterdam Spirits Company, Modesto, California.
QC Kinetics provided amazing pain relief for a former professional baseball player, and you have access to the same life-changing treatments as retired Braves pitcher Jose Alvarez.
I put a lot of stress and strain and work on my right arm, but my right elbow took most of the damage with 3 surgeries.
Arthritis developed, and the pain was unbearable.
It wasn't just pain when I was trying to play sports. It was anytime I was moving the right elbow. It was pretty excruciating at times.
That's when Jose discovered QC Kinetics and the regenerative treatments that help the body heal itself, restoring damaged tissue and providing relief with no surgery or downtime. Jose's message to the medical professionals at QC Kinetics?
My elbow is feeling outstanding. Where were you 10 years ago, for crying out loud?
QC Kinetics is right here. Call for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024.
Hey everybody, Robbie Stanley here, and FanDuel Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56, and we can't wait for the Rams to take on the Bengals. And to celebrate, new customers can bet $5 to win $280 on either team to win when you use promo code ROB when registering. To get your Super Bowl odds boost, just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, deposit at least $10, and pick your team. Personally, I like the Bengals in this matchup. I think Joe Burrow and company have what it takes to get it done. But you take it any way you want to take it. There's just no better place to bet on Super Bowl 56 than FanDuel Sportsbook. They've got same-game parlays where you can combine small bets for bigger wins, tons of Super Bowl props, and much, much more. So don't miss your chance to turn $5 into $280. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Use promo code ROB to make every moment more this Super Bowl. Again, that promo code is ROB. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only, and $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. A max bonus of $280. Bonus for Tennessee users filled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
You probably wouldn't leave thousands of dollars on the table at a diner. Why leave thousands on the table with your tax return? Jackson Hewitt will help make sure you don't. This year, there are thousands of dollars worth of new tax credits. Your Jackson Hewitt Tax Pro will help you track down every last one, so you get your biggest refund guaranteed. Don't leave thousands on the table this year. Discover thousands of dollars in tax credits instead.
Check, please.
Learn more at jacksonhewitt.com.
Inside knowledge on the Titans.
Todd Downey's got his notepad out right now, just writing things down.
Inside knowledge on the Predators.
They can go right into the forecheck, and boom, you get a beautiful goal from Colton Sissons.
And then there's a team in Knoxville.
How excited should Tennessee fans be by what they've seen from Josh Heupel in year one?
Wake up and hang out with Robbie and Rexroad. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10. Brought to you by Little Guys Movers on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and The Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
You're listening to Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
Trevor Maddich is our guest, ESPN college football analyst, and normally this is the time of year, Trevor, we're just talking draft, and there's still a lot of draft to get to. But we have got to talk about this situation at Auburn. I honestly ignored it for most of last week because I was kind of focused on Aaron Rodgers building a house in Williamson County. But then all of a sudden, it became too much to ignore. I read an article about how dysfunctional it is at Auburn. Caroline, you were talking about the fact that apparently it may be very dysfunctional inside Brian Harson's program at Auburn. Trev, could we be looking at a college football coaching search in February or March? What do we make of the tea that's going on there in Auburn?
I don't know how they can avoid it at this point. The coach, Brian Harsin, just finished his first season. 5 assistant coaches are gone. One of them, the offensive coordinator, they fired. Defensive coordinator took a $400,000 pay cut. That's Derek Mason, formerly of Vanderbilt.
And he won't call me back.
Defensive coordinator at Oklahoma State. Say again, I'm sorry?
I said he won't call me. I called him the other day, like just to check in, like not even to get the scoop or anything like that. Just check in, see how he was doing. And he didn't answer, text him, didn't text me back. I think he is like laying low right now.
Yeah, there's no upside to be seen as a guy who is, and even just to be seen as that guy. He's got to be careful. But he took almost a $500,000 pay cut to head out and get out of there. And then some other ones. 20 different players have left the team. And so there's a lot of players on social media are coming out to say that he was a dictator, Brian Harsin, and that, he didn't get to know their parents and didn't care about them as people. Others supported him and said, look, we weren't looking for a best friend. We were looking for a football coach, and that's what we got. But then they lost 5 games in a row in the season when Bo Nix got hurt. And so a lot of things have sort of piled on. And they're investigating, including with outside investigators, and they won't say exactly what they're investigating because they owe him, if they fire him now, over $18 million in dead money unless they can fire him for cause. And so Auburn's tight-lipped about why they're investigating and what's going on. But, just because he's a big meanie that doesn't talk to your parents as much as you want him to, that's not cause to fire a coach, right? And losing 5 games in a row isn't cause. You might think he's not good enough. You might not like the direction, but that doesn't mean you can not pay him his $18 million guaranteed. So right now, there's not a lot of detail coming out of Auburn as to why they're doing this. But, Jared, what we do know is that every day that goes by, it limits the effectiveness that Brian Harsin could possibly have as a leader and as a recruiter. Because recruits now are looking at this saying, why do I want to commit to Auburn when, once again, this is not just Harsin, once again, there are powers that be behind the scenes that are trying to politically, get the coach they don't like out so the coach they can they do like go in. I mean, there's all kinds of rumors that Kevin Steele was the booster's choice, the former defensive coordinator, to take Gus Malzahn's place, and then they lost
former
the political
interim
battle
Tennessee
behind the
coach
scenes.
Kevin Steele.
Right?
Former interim Tennessee coach Kevin Steele for 1 hour.
Yeah, right. And I like Kevin Steele as a coach. I like him. But the point is, if you're a recruit, you're looking at that and you're saying, okay, why do I want to commit to Auburn when they can't get their own act together? You can make a good case that Auburn hasn't been pulling the wagon in the same direction from a standpoint of administration, athletic director and athletic department, and coach and boosters since Pat Dye in the 90s, right? You can make that case. And so Auburn right now is just a big, ugly, nasty mess, and every day that it goes on, Brian Harsin is weakened if they do decide to bring him back. This is just incredibly self-destructive. Whether or not they find anything that that they can fire him for cause for. You know, this whole thing right now is just so caustic to the image of Auburn football, in part because of what's happening now, and in part because of that it's not the only time this has happened. This is a long string of absolute awful that has been associated with Auburn football off the field relative to politics.
Trevor, how much of this is a guy with a minor league job doesn't understand how tough it is to coach in the major leagues?
You know, it could be something to do with that. I mean, he came into a situation at Auburn that is famously one of the most difficult places for a coach to impose his will, because the boosters at Auburn are very supportive, but they also have a reputation for being very, for sticking their spoon into the pot a lot. And so that's tough. It also has a reputation of not having the full support the way the coaches that have been there have wanted it from the academic side. And so, that's all a big part of it. And maybe Brian Harsin came in wanting to say, okay, I'm going to do like Nick Saban. I'm going to say we're doing it my way or the highway, and alienated a bunch of people. And that may have been what happened. I do know that he's a very good coach. He won almost 80% of his games at Boise State. He did bring in Bobo, offensive coordinator, a Georgia guy who knows the SEC, and in Mason, a defensive coordinator, a Vanderbilt guy who knows the SEC. So it's not like he didn't have a staff around him that could fill in some of the gaps that he didn't know about in this league. It seems to me like he rubbed the wrong people the wrong way too often in his first year, and a 5-game losing streak and a bunch of staff and player departures have set him up for people to have an excuse to get the camel's nose through the door of the tent. And right now, he's just being utterly and absolutely eviscerated from a credibility standpoint.
Trev, what would a coaching search in February look like, and how would that affect a bunch of other teams as well?
Well, they'd have to pull in somebody off another staff and create the same hole that Auburn would have if they do fire him at another spot. Now, Auburn doesn't care about that. They just want to get their guy. But it would be incredibly disruptive, just incredibly disruptive. And who would really want to go there right now? You've got to ask yourself, if they do fire Harsin, would the kind of coach that wants to put his stamp on a program that has other options choose to go there? And if so, at what price, right? And that could happen. I mean, I'm not saying it can. I'm not saying Auburn's a bad place. I'm just saying right now, if you're a head coach, you don't want, if they fire Harsin, if they do, they haven't. If they do, you don't want to walk in there and then turn around in a year or two and be kicked right out the door, whether or not you won a national championship. And so, it would be ugly. And part of that, by the way, part of the problem that they have now is that with the departure of the two coordinators, offensive and defensive coordinators, Brian Harsin was asking the athletic department, the administration, how much and under what terms he could offer new candidates to come in and take those jobs so he could start to fill the coordinator positions. And according to published reports, Harsin was not able to get a straight answer as to how much he could pay him, how many years could be on the contract, and all those other things, which also undermines his credibility out there and also undermines the credibility of Auburn to other potential candidates. So again, I mean, who are you looking for? Right now, it almost looks like they'd have to have a guy who's a young up-and-comer who wants to make the money and take a stab at it that doesn't have other top-flight options. And so I really worry about what Auburn's doing to themselves right now.
Trevor Matich, as always, is presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. Trev, good talk. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, Jared.
Yep, Trevor Matich. What a mess at Auburn. What a mess. And look, I'm at Louisville right now. It's a total mess. Now, we got the right guy in as interim athletic director, who I think ultimately is going to be athletic director. And he's smart, and if they let him do his job, he'll be fine. But, my goodness, what a freaking mess at Auburn. FanDuel Sportsbook, my official sportsbook app, the NFL season. Well, we'll talk about FanDuel in 1 second. Coming up next, how the Titans might be acting a little bit like Jerry Jones. We'll explain. FanDuel Sportsbook's my official sportsbook app. The NFL season comes down to this: Super Bowl 56. It's the Rams and the Bengals. And to celebrate, FanDuel Sportsbook is hooking all customers up with a risk-free same-game parlay. New to existing customers can place any same-game parlay of 3 legs or more in the Super Bowl. And if you don't win, FanDuel will refund you. Same-game parlays combine multiple bets from the same game into one wager for bigger payouts. Build your parlay with your spreads, money lines, totals, Super Bowl props, and more. Here's what I'm going to do. Van Jefferson touchdown, Joe Burrow over passing yards, blue Gatorade for the champion. Already have an account? Just place your first risk-free same-game parlay bet before the Super Bowl to qualify. New customers join today with the promo code JGM to enjoy 56-1 odds on either team to win the Super Bowl, and you can turn a $5 bet into $280 cash. That's promo code JGM on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. FanDuel is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. 21 and older and present. Tennessee refund issue is non-withdrawable site credit expires in 7 days. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Your speaker at home is so smart that even Alexa knows where to find Nashville's best sports talk.
102.5 The Game is Nashville's best sports talk.
Ask Alexa to enable 102.5 The Game. Once enabled, ask Alexa to play 102.5 The Game.
Welcome to 102.5 The Game.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Are you hiring? Then check out Indeed. Schedule virtual interviews and talk to candidates right from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
When purchasing your next vehicle, it's nice to know that you can deal with a locally owned dealership like Payne Chevrolet that has been in the same family for over 96 years. Home of the lifetime powertrain warranty on new and pre-owned vehicles, Payne Chevrolet also makes it easy to shop. You can literally go to PayneChevrolet.com, point, click, and drive away in your new or pre-owned vehicle. Check out Payne Chevrolet in Springfield on Memorial Boulevard or go to PayneChevrolet.com. Payne Chevrolet, 9 decades, 4 generations, and 1 tradition.
Shop today at Social Furniture during their President's Day sale. You'll find everything for your home on sale now. They have same-day delivery for your convenience and pay nothing down today. Use Social Furniture financing plan and pay no interest for 1 full year. For a limited time, they have designer sofas, solid wood bedroom furniture, leather sofas, and sectionals in stock now. They can deliver any size mattress the same day during their President's Day sale going on now through President's Day. Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local. Shop social.
Parman Tractor and Equipment is your one-stop tractor and equipment solution. And Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. Rent or purchase a track loader, mini excavator, large excavators for your job site, or something in between. Parman is now hiring and seeking qualified candidates for construction equipment truck drivers, service technicians, and more. Apply at ParmanTractor.com or call 615-865-7800. Come be an employee owner with the Parman team, your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
Call in to Robbie and Rexroad this week. It's your chance to win a 4-pack of wristbands to the 46th Annual National Wild Turkey Federation Convention at Opryland Resort, February 16th through the 20th. And click on the contest tab at thegamenashville.com for another chance to win.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Good morning. Morning.
Robbie and Rexroad mornings from 6 to 10.
It's not bad. Might have to work on that. It's not bad. It's a starting point.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
a Cromwell media station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company are delivered by TriStar Moving. Is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Congratulations to Mike Vrabel and John Robinson getting contract extensions. They won't tell us how long and for how much money, so I don't know any way to judge it. But go them. There you go.
Woohoo!
Happy
go
for
team,
them.
go.
There you go. So I was thinking about this, and I love, I've said this time and time again, like if Floyd was here, and I try not to put words in his mouth because that was one thing that he really didn't like, but if Floyd was here even though John Robinson's had 2 bad drafts in a row, even though the quarterback is what it is, Ian backed me up on this. He'd be like, great job, Amy, to lock them up. Way to go, J-Rob. He'd be so happy for John.
Oh, for sure.
And we'd be hearing that. But there are many differences between the two men, even though that they were friends. And one of the biggest differences, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but I think that John has a much bigger ego than Floyd did.
Which actually can sometimes be a good thing.
Sometimes it can be a good thing. You know, if Floyd had a bigger ego, he would have kicked Jeff Fisher to the curb way quicker, and he would have stayed GM, and the Titans would have kept winning games instead of gone in the toilet with Jeff Fisher. So you may be onto something there. And, you know, I was talking to Sally the other day, and she used to always tell me that Floyd doesn't toot his horn enough. And I agree with her that he didn't toot his horn enough when he was general manager. So there's something to that. Vrabel, I think we can all agree, has a rather large ego. Fair?
Yes, fair.
So regardless of whether or not this is good or bad, Robinson and Vrabel have big egos. Fair?
Fair.
Okay. Which takes me to quarterback. Ryan Tannehill. Not much of an ego with Tannehill. Tannehill doesn't try to get all the endorsements like Baker Mayfield. He doesn't take on members of the press. He doesn't do things that are controversial. He doesn't have a massive, massive shoe deal, at least that I know about. He's not a superstar. We all know that. But I was thinking about this when it comes to Aaron Rodgers or one of these kind of guys. Maybe that's what Vrabel and Robinson want. When I look at the Dallas Cowboys, for instance, and you look at who coaches that team, since Jerry Jones has owned the team, they've had 2 good coaches. Now, I'm not going to say Tom Landry because he got rid of Tom Landry. And by the way, no disrespect to Tom Landry, Hall of Fame coach, it was time for Tom Landry to go. But so Jimmy Johnson comes in, and we know how, those 2 grew up together in Arkansas, and they played at Arkansas, and we also know how famously they divorced. So Jerry and Jimmy break up. In comes Barry Switzer, bad coach. Chan Gailey, bad coach. Dave Campo, horrible coach. Then Bill Parcells, because Jerry realized, all right, I got to put my ego to the side a little bit, bring in the tuna, and let him fix things. But he could only do it for so long. So after 4 seasons, goes to the playoffs with Quincy Carter, who stinks as his quarterback, then turns around and takes the undrafted free agent Tony Romo and makes him the quarterback, and Bill Parcells is in the playoffs, and Bill Parcells is out because he can't deal with Jerry. Because Bill said, Jerry, you got to let me do it, and Jerry can't handle that. And since then, he's hired goofball Wade Phillips, clapaholic Jason Garrett, and the lump Mike McCarthy. And everybody watches the Cowboys all the time because they're always on TV, even if you're not a Cowboy fan. And we watch Mike McCarthy coach these games, and we're like, why in the world does Jerry Jones have this guy as his coach? Why in the world does Jerry Jones have Jason Garrett on the sidelines clapping it up every time they give up a big play? Why is Wade Phillips, Camp Marshmallow? Why is he running training camp? But we know it's because Jerry cannot have a big ego coach. Jerry cannot. Mike Vrabel would not get along with Jerry Jones as his coach because Jerry would be jealous of how much attention Mike Vrabel gets. And I wonder, do you think that Vrabel and Robinson are afraid of the big ego quarterback? Now, they have never gone out and gotten a big quarterback. They have never drafted a quarterback as a guy that would come in here and play. They've never been in that position. They've had Mariota and Tannehill, 2 guys that make as little noise as possible. But maybe that's what they want. When you watch Mike McCarthy butcher the end of that playoff game, and Jerry comes out, he's our coach, we love him, we want him. And then who's Jerry's coach in waiting? Goofball Dan Quinn of Tell the Truth Monday over at the Atlanta Falcons that got him to a Super Bowl, and then as soon as Shanahan left, downhill. Jerry loves the bozos because that's how Jerry stays the star. And nobody in the NFL has a bigger ego than Jerry Jones. But I think if Jerry could kind of put that to the side a little bit and hire a good coach with the players they have on that team, the Cowboys could compete for a Super Bowl. But Jerry won't do it. And I wonder if the years of, was it Jimmy or was it Jerry? Or let's give the attention to Troy and Emmett and Michael Irvin and Darren Woodson, if that made Jerry say, you know what? I'm going to be the star of the Cowboys. And I wonder if Vrabel and Robinson feel that way about the quarterback position, specifically Aaron Rodgers, because I do think there's enough noise that you could at least investigate the idea of trading for Aaron Rodgers. I don't think you have to do what Denver did, which is push all the chips into the middle and say, go Aaron, go. But I do think the Titans could stand on the periphery and look at it and say, if there starts to be a little bit of drama here between Aaron and the Packers, and nobody knows what Aaron's going to do, and nobody knows what the Packers would want in return, but if there's going to be a little drama, let me get in the mix to take my really good roster that just got 9 sacks in a playoff game, and let me put Aaron Rodgers in there at quarterback. And yet the Titans are like, no, no, no. I don't know how many times I got to say it, but Ryan Tannehill's our quarterback. Wasn't really John Robinson. It's like a style of carryover from Jerry there.
Yeah, he's not that Southern.
But again, is this the Jerry Jones syndrome? Jerry will not hire a strong personality coach. He will not get a good coach. He wants a yes man to Jerry who will always be number 2. If the Dallas Cowboys win the Super Bowl next year, and I'm not going to say they have the roster to win the Super Bowl, but they're pretty close. They got wide receivers and offensive line. I think Zeke has regressed. Dak is probably good enough to win a Super Bowl, but might be like on the high end of the Tannehill scale where he's not really good enough to carry the team. The defense has Micah Parsons, who might be this generation's Lawrence Taylor. Trayvon Diggs led the league in interceptions. They got a good team in Dallas. And if they won the Super Bowl, you know who would get the least amount of credit if they won the championship? The coach. Dak would get his credit, but
Jerry.
Ultimately, Jerry would get his credit. Now, Zach Taylor in Cincinnati is getting no credit, and I don't think he cares. I think he is totally fine. Make it about Joe. Make it about the Cincinnati fans. Do that. Make it about the kicker. I don't care. McVay, I think he's got a little bit of he wants all the attention on him. Vrabel and Robinson, I don't know. Would they clash with a star quarterback that's like, hey, we got to do some things my way? Kurt Warner one time went on the midday show early on in Mariota's tenure, and I listened to him on the air talk about how this was when Kim Wisenhunt was the coach of the Titans. Mm-hmm. And Kurt Warner was talking about how, he and Ken kind of met in the middle on certain things. And I was like, okay, maybe that makes sense. And Darren told me after the fact that doing the interview in person with Kurt Warner, Kurt made it obvious to them that it was basically, we did what I wanted to do. I just kind of told Ken, hey, this is what we're going to do. And I was like, oh, I don't see Mike Vrabel putting up with a quarterback who says we're going to do things my way. I don't see Robinson putting up with a quarterback who's going to spend the entire offseason trying to boycott the franchise. Maybe they can't. Maybe that's why they went Tannehill over Brady. I don't know. I'm throwing it out there. They're good coaches. Good. Robinson is a good general manager, though the drafting could be a little bit better. But I just wonder if we're seeing a little Jerry Jones syndrome when it comes to the Titans and the quarterback. Give me your response on the other side. You too. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Is there a little bit of a Jerry Jones here with these coaches? Which is why he's sticking with McCarthy and why the Titans are sticking with Tannehill. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving right here on ESPN 1025 The Game. Be sure to join 1025 The Game tomorrow at Headquarters Beercade for the Preds Bud Light Watch Party. Drink specials, enter to win Preds tickets, and watch the Preds take on the Dallas Stars. It's the Preds Bud Light Watch Party at Headquarters Beercade, located at 114 2nd Avenue South downtown. Puck drop 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Green flag. The Daytona 500 is underway.
Do you want to see the Daytona 500 live and in person? Be listening during the 8 a.m., noon, and 4 p.m. hours each day this week for the clue to call. You'll then have a chance to qualify to win a pair of tickets to the Daytona 500 on February 20th, presented by Social Furniture. The winner will be announced Friday at 5 p.m. on Nashville's official home for NASCAR.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Nothing makes one feel better than the ability to give to someone in need. You have the power to give the most important gift of all, the gift of life, with a donation of your blood. Supplies are desperately low in our area, and your help is needed. Blood Assurance is a nonprofit community blood center that supplies our Middle Tennessee area hospitals. Please find it in your heart to donate. Be someone's hero today. Go to bloodassurance.org to find a location or blood drive near you. That's bloodassurance.org. Give blood, give local, save lives with Blood Assurance.
Now through February 16th, join a clean and spacious Planet Fitness for zero enrollment and only $10 a month. With tons of equipment and free fitness training, it's the perfect place for everybody to work out.
Even me, Mr. I can't sleep at night, so I keep dozing off during the day.
Especially you, Snoozy. You'll rest easier and feel fit-tacular.
Wait, how did you get in here?
Join in club or at planetfitness.com. Zero enrollment, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends February 16th. See club for details.
Genesis Diamonds has everything you need to create the perfect Valentine's experience. A romantic gift, some fresh flowers, chocolates, and dinner out on us. That's right. Genesis has put together the ultimate Valentine's package. When you buy any piece of jewelry for just $99 or more, we'll give you a bouquet of flowers from Jenny's Flowers, some yummy chocolates, and a gift card for dinner at STK Steakhouse. At Genesis, love and romance are what we do best. So we've created this amazing one-stop offer so you can spend quality time with the one you love this Valentine's. We've pulled together some wonderful Valentine gift ideas as well. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, affordable, timeless gifts she can enjoy for years. So bring the sparkle and the romance with one-stop shopping at Genesis. Spend just $99 or more with us and get the flowers, the chocolates, and a gift card for dinner as our gift. Happy Valentine's Day from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Limited quantity. See store for details.
Need cash for that home improvement or want to finally be credit card debt free? How does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound right now? Loan Pronto can do it for you, whether you have a VA loan or a conventional loan. They're helping local homeowners convert their home equity into cash with zero closing costs. Willie Donick here. Listen, your home value is up. Let Loan Pronto tap that equity and get you the cash you need. Pay off high-interest loans. Start that home remodeling project. Veteran homeowners are really loving this because with a VA loan, you can tap 100% of your home's equity. That's a ton of cash. Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They are doing loans with APRs in the twos. And if you call now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call now to see what your options are. Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
What I would say to y'all is I don't give a damn what Robinson, the GM, said. Why don't you tell the people in Nashville, Tennessee, one of my favorite places to visit from time to time, why don't you tell them, we have a chance to get Aaron Rodgers, but we're going to stick with Ryan Tannehill. Why don't you say that publicly? Why don't you say that publicly? Now, you can say that when there's no obvious chance to get Aaron Rodgers. But if somehow, some way there was a chance to get him, if Green Bay said, hey, if Aaron Rodgers said, I wouldn't mind coming to Nashville, Tennessee, by the way, a state with no state income taxes, excuse me, I wouldn't mind going there. If Aaron Rodgers made that claim, if he put that out there, and you knew it's Tennessee,
there you go, Stephen A. all worked up about getting Aaron Rodgers here. And again, I don't think Robinson and Vrabel want to deal with that ego. Brady's interesting. Brady's got an ego. Brady's going to want things Brady's way. If Brady unretires, which again, I think that the Brady comments make me think Brady's going to unretire. If Brady wants things that certain way, I guess that's a little different. Do you think Vrabel and Robinson's egos are too big to have a star quarterback?
No.
Really?
No.
You
And
don't
I think that
you
is-
don't think there's any Jerry Jones here? Because, I think we can all agree the reason Mike McCarthy's the coach is because he's a yes man to Jerry.
Yes. I think it's almost disrespectful to say that to Mike Vrabel and John Robinson.
Why?
What did Mike Vrabel say he would do for a Super Bowl?
He said he'd cut his wiener off.
Yeah, he did.
But that doesn't actually mean that he would do that.
I know that, but that's how badly he wants to win a Super Bowl. And I don't think that Mike Vrabel's ego is so big that he would let anything get in the way of getting a Super Bowl.
So then why will they not try to upgrade quarterback?
You mentioned Aaron Rodgers, and I do think that the personality aspect comes into play with Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think it's because Mike Vrabel and John Robinson are worried about their egos getting...
What about all this patting on the back? I mean, again...
I'm not saying they don't have egos, because they absolutely do.
Remember after the Bengals lost, Vrabel, I'm going to be the coach for a while. The cocky attitude. Robinson.
They're not cocky, and they don't not have egos. I told you, I think you have to have an ego in order to be successful, especially in a highly critical industry like the NFL. But I don't think their egos are so big that they're going to stop themselves from getting a quarterback that would undeniably upgrade this team just because they're afraid that their egos might get hurt.
But didn't we say that the reason why they won't move off of Tannehill is because the admission that the Julio Jones trade screwed so much up?
No, I didn't say that.
But we said that they won't because of the cap money. If
and
Ryan,
I think that's a bigger. I think it's the cap money rather than the admission of the cap money.
Oh, it's the admission. They can get out of this. They can get out of the money.
Do they want to, though, is the question.
They can get out of it. We've talked about this. And again, Joe was talking about how I was listening to Robbie and Joe yesterday, and Joe was like, I need a better plan than Jared just saying they'll figure it out. But Ian Rappaport from the NFL Network, we kept playing those clips over and over again where Ian Rappaport was like, oh, they'll figure it out. The way that the caps work with these cap managers and these loopholes and these voidable years and all this bull crap is they will figure it out.
They can make it work. They can figure it out, but I don't think
so
their egos are the reason why.
So they're not even interested in picking up the phone to call Green Bay if Aaron wants out. They're committed to Ryan Tannehill.
I don't think it's because of their egos. And I do think that Aaron Rodgers' personality comes into play. But I think it's because they view Aaron Rodgers as essentially a cancer in the locker room. Because that's exactly what he's been. I know that there are guys in Green Bay that love Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, the guys in Green... Well, all those guys are moving here. Clay Matthews is moving here. Randall Cobb's moving here. Bakhtiari's moving here.
Aaron Rodgers off the field has been nothing but a pain in Green Bay's side.
Oh, yeah, no. He is definitely a giant rod up the fanny.
And I don't think they want to deal with that. And it's not because of their egos. I think it's because John Robinson said it. We're proud of our culture. Our culture is set in stone. But Aaron Rodgers just might not fit that. Because Aaron Rodgers is all about Aaron Rodgers.
So you don't think they would have any qualms with Brady?
I don't think so. No. Because Brady's a culture guy. Brady's a locker room guy. And Brady also is a certified winner. I don't think they would have any issue with Brady.
I don't know. They just were so not interested in Brady before, and they're the ones that are supposed to figure
because the circumstances
all this out.
were totally different before.
They were, but they weren't.
A lot changes in 2 years.
Right, they were, but again.
But the Tannehill in 2019 versus the Tannehill now is totally different.
If Aaron Rodgers were a free agent, a la Peyton Manning, in 2018 or 2012. Do you think they'd put the full court press on to get Aaron Rodgers?
I mean, I would want to say yes.
I don't think they would.
But also everything that's unfolded over the past week or so, I don't think so. But with Tom Brady, I think they probably would. Because I know we went through this exact same thing in 2020, but the circumstances are different. And you say, if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, where's the camera going first?
Jerry.
If the Titans win the Super Bowl, where's the camera going first?
Vrabel.
Not John Robinson.
It's Vrabel.
But, he's the coach. It's not because of his ego. It's because he's the coach.
I know, but as the coach, if you got a star quarterback, except for the case of Belichick and Brady, that camera wasn't on Bruce Arians last year.
No, it was on Tom Brady because he's Tom freaking Brady.
Right. So if you want to get into that league, the camera's going to be on that guy before it's Vrabel. But as constructed, Vrabel gets all the credit for the Titans. I was listening to Boston radio. They have Vrabel. One of the guys had Vrabel ranked as the second best coach in the league, ahead of Belichick.
Do you think the second best coach in the league would say no thank you to a star quarterback just because he doesn't want his power or he doesn't want a power struggle?
Do you think that probably, and I don't want to say the best owner in the league, but Jerry is considered like a superstar owner.
He's the most notorious owner in
Right.
the league.
Like Jerry is up
Everyone
there.
knows Jerry Jones.
Like nobody ever talks about the Rooneys, who I think run the Steelers really, really well.
I mean, it's not John Robinson's world.
But
it is Jerry's world.
But Jerry, I mean, I do think Jerry would have a hard time if the coach got all the credit for a championship. Because we've seen that in the
Why
past
is Jimmy not in Dallas?
with Jerry Jones. I can't say, but Jerry won't tell you that. Like, Jerry doesn't think that it's because I want all the credit that he hires these schlubs that do whatever he wants. But it is something about Jerry. And I think it's something about Vrabel that's like, we want things done a certain way, and if we bring that kind of guy in, that kind of guy is going to want to do things his way. Like, I think they'd be worried about Russell Wilson because Russell Wilson obviously is not getting along with Pete Carroll. And Russell, it's not that he doesn't like Pete, although I don't know how he feels about Pete. It's the direction of the franchise that Russell doesn't like. And when you have a star quarterback, let's use Taylor Lewan as an example. Titans are going to cut Roger Saffold. Ben Jones is a free agent. They may cut Taylor Lewan. And David Quessenberry is a free agent.
But it won't be because of Taylor Lewan's, all eyes on me mentality.
Which I have heard the Titans don't like. But if you had a star quarterback, you might hear some real complaining about cutting Roger Saffold. Some real complaining about cutting Taylor Lewan.
Why?
Because these are my offensive linemen. I mean, you're going to get rid of my offensive linemen? You're not going to go re-sign Ben Jones? I want Ben Jones. Aaron Rodgers
to get a star quarterback?
No. The star quarterback, if he were here, would not be happy about losing Ben Jones. But you ain't going to hear a peep out of Ryan Tannehill.
No.
And again, that's like everybody falls in line. And star quarterbacks don't fall in line. Brady had his issues with Belichick. He wanted his trainer in there. He wanted better players in the offense. He wanted a better contract.
But when you win Super Bowls, you can make those demands.
Okay, but again, every star quarterback has one, except for Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. But again, all these guys are going to make them. Every single great quarterback is going to want some sort of a say. Deshaun's mad in Houston because he didn't get a say. If Cincinnati were to make a major change, Joe's going to want to say. All these guys want say.
Well, do you want to win a Super Bowl or do you not want to have complete and total 100% control of everything that happens with the team?
You don't think Peyton had say in Denver?
I do.
That's my point. And I'm telling you, I don't think Vrabel and Robinson are going to want to give say up to any of these guys.
Not even if it means upgrading at quarterback and potentially making a run for the Super Bowl. I don't think that that's the case.
So you're looking at it like if you were to go to Robinson and Vrabel and say, hey, would you like a superstar quarterback? They'd be like, no, we wouldn't want a superstar quarterback because of egos. But it's like, do you think you'd rather have an okay quarterback who totally falls in line? Or would you rather have a great quarterback who's going to want things done a particular way? And I think they would rather have the okay quarterback that falls in line with the way they want to do things. That's why Belichick wanted to go from Brady to Garoppolo. I mean, think about it. Tom Brady. He wanted to let him go. To make Jimmy Garoppolo the quarterback.
But he didn't.
But he wanted to. The owner came in and said no. Jimmy, who sucks, Belichick wanted to. Belichick got rid of the trainer, said, can't fly on the team plane, all this other crap. This is the greatest quarterback of all time. And Belichick was like, no, we got to do things our way. I'm telling you, these coaches, man, these are big egos involved. And again, the Titans already passed on Tom Brady once. And for whatever reason, and again, I was for that, so I can't sit here and go nuts and everything else. But this idea that to think that Vrabel and Robinson would be okay with what Russell Wilson's doing in Seattle, where he's the starting quarterback and he's showing up for camp and he's giving a list to the media about, hey, these are the 4 teams I'd like to be traded to. You think that would fly around here?
Well, if your culture is so set in stone and so great, then Russell Wilson wouldn't have to show up to training camp with a list of teams that he wants to be traded to. I think it's crazy to think that they wouldn't go for a quarterback just because they're so afraid of things being shaken up.
Well, they've already told us last week and they have no interest in going for a big quarterback.
Do we believe them?
I don't. I think that they are set in stone on Tannehill. I'm hoping that I'm wrong, but I think that they are set. I think they are, hey, this guy, great leader, expert toughness, and, can throw a ball a bit. And that's it. They love the guy. They love Henry. They love the guys that fall in line. do things their way.
No.
I'm
not with you.
John Robinson fired a head coach who took the worst team in the league to 9-7 and then to the divisional round of the playoffs, and he fired him because he wasn't his guy.
Was that the first time that's ever been done in the history of the league?
No, but I mean, I don't know how many times it's been done that you take a guy when you take the worst team in the league and you have 2 winning seasons and get to the playoffs.
Guys want their guys all the time.
That's the ego. That's the ego.
But that doesn't mean that you don't want to upgrade at quarterback.
They want their way all the time.
So John Robinson and Mike Vrabel are so afraid of surrendering any sort of power for this football team that they will put their football team in jeopardy.
I will say yes.
I think that is asinine.
Well, again, you fire a good coach. You fire a good coach because he's not your guy. That's a total ego thing.
I'm not saying they don't have egos. You have to have an ego.
Okay, so then let me break it down into like the minor terms like what you're doing right here. Where you're just saying like they wouldn't take a superstar quarterback. So you have the worst team in the NFL.
Okay.
You get a head coach who comes in here and takes the team to the playoffs for the first time in a decade and wins a playoff game as an underdog on the road. And that the culture that was awful is now fixed with this guy as coach. So even though he wasn't your guy, you didn't hire him, and he doesn't do everything the way you like it, he's an old school coach, but he's got things turned around and he's doing a good job. And you'd fire that.
I mean, I don't necessarily know if I would.
Nobody would fire that. But he fired it because, again, he wanted things done his way. And Vrabel wants things done his way. And if you go get a star quarterback, you go get Russell Wilson, Russell's going to want to do things Russell's way. When Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay, Jason Light and Bruce Arians stayed out of the way. And they did everything Tom's way. They didn't want Antonio Brown. They asked Bruce Arians if they were going to get Antonio Brown. And he said no. He wanted no part of Antonio Brown. And then he went and got Antonio Brown. They did things Tom's way. Vrabel and Robinson are not going to do things that for a quarterback. They're not going to do things the quarterback's way. Just like Jerry is not going to do things Jimmy's way. He's not going to do things Bill Parcells' way.
But don't you also think that they wouldn't hurt their ego so much that they would continue to lose with a quarterback that they may or may not know that you can't win a Super Bowl with? That hurts your ego even more to continue to lose.
Don't you think Jerry Jones, who is an expert businessman, and again, really does run a lot of the business elements of the NFL. The NFL almost took less money to stay with CBS in the 90s. And Jerry went to Fox. And Fox ponied up a bunch of money. And the NFL was worried about it. They were like, I don't know, CBS is an established network. Fox has like The Simpsons and Al Bundy. And Jerry was like, no, Fox. Jerry's a good businessman. You think this good businessman's going to have these schlubs on the sidelines and kick Parcells out of there?
Well, he's done it.
Okay.
Because Jerry Jones does it doesn't mean that Mike Vrabel will do it as well.
But you're sitting there and arguing the fact that like the Titans' egos won't allow them to go get a good quarterback who's going to want to do things their way. Whereas I'm telling you, everybody that's wanted to do things their way is out of here. And it's just like Jerry with the Cowboys. Jerry wants somebody to do things his way. We will get to your phones on this, but we got to talk to Hal Gill. 615-737-1025. Stillman and Company, your thoughts after these words and Hal. Stillman and Company, ESPN 125 game.
This is Colton Sissons, and this is Smashville.
Leads now Sissons coming on from the left circle, and Colton Sissons puts it in the net.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
Are you a father that is passionate about your fundamental constitutional right to parent your own child or children? Has your parenting time or your income been affected by COVID? This is Amanda J. Gentry, and I am a fierce defender of your constitutional rights. The courts in Tennessee are under an obligation to maximize equal parenting time. We do not live in an every other weekend world anymore. At the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, fathers are extremely important, much like my own father was. Go to AmandaJGentry.com or call or text 615-604-6263. That's AmandaJGentry.com.
Hey, it's me, Chase McCabe, and BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks, welcomes you with a special offer on college basketball. Simply place a $10 moneyline wager on any game, and if either team hits a three-pointer in that game, you'll win $200 in free bets. Just use the bonus code 1025GAME200 when you make your first bet. Plus, you'll earn BetMGM rewards points that can be redeemed for online bonuses or converted into comps for rooms, restaurants, and more at over 20 MGM resorts nationwide. Just download the app or go to BetMGM.com. Use that bonus code 1025GAME200 to win $200 in free bets if a three-pointer is made in the game you wager on. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager, Tennessee only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expired 7 days from issuance. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
Get big game ready and score amazing deals at Electronic Express. Bring the action to your living room with 4K TVs from Samsung, LG, Sony, Hisense, TCL, and more. We've also got huge savings in every department: computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, and more. The game wouldn't be complete without the food, so save up to 40% on all appliances with up to 36 months free financing. Electronic Express has what you need to get big game ready. We make it happen.
If you suffer from chronic joint pain, don't assume that steroid shots, pain pills, and surgery are your only options. You can call now to get real, lasting, life-changing relief from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in using biologic therapies to repair damaged tissue in your aching joints. The success rate is staggering. People with knee and back pain, shoulder pain, hip pain, they're moving again, enjoying life again with help from QC Kinetics. This advanced, unique treatment protocol uses natural biologic agents, mostly from your own body. These powerful, highly concentrated growth factors are put directly into your affected joint, going to work to soothe the inflammation and restore damaged tissue. A truly regenerative treatment. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Finally, a new, different, highly successful approach to dealing with joint pain. Is it time you got a second opinion? Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics now. 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Presented by FreedomTireGuys.com, Nashville's premier mobile tire company. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, this is Dan Lebitard. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Stillman and Company, we are efforting Hal Gill to join us on the program. Hal Gill, as normally, presented by Dunkin' Donuts, featuring their newest next-gen location at 500 Cool Springs Boulevard. So we will talk to Hal in a second. But Caroline and I argued through the break.
Yeah, we tend to do that
sometimes. We literally argued through the break. And again, I will say this. The one example of a big ego dude bending to the knee for the star quarterback over the last 20 years was Elway bent the knee and gave it to Manning and let Manning do Manning things.
And what did they do?
They won a Super Bowl. But the ego was so big that after Manning got hurt, they didn't win the second. Like, they went to the Super Bowl, lost. Then they didn't. And so they fired John Fox, and Elway went and brought in Kubiak, who was his backup. Then when they benched Manning, that was some stuff. But again, Peyton was at that point so done. You know, that it was.
I mean, they didn't really necessarily win the Super Bowl because of Peyton Manning. His arm was jello at that point.
I saw a chart that had like the best offense, like league ranking in offense for Super Bowl teams and league ranking in defense. And so the vertical axis was defense and the horizontal axis was offense. And everybody was on the far right, except for the 2015 Broncos, which was at the top on the far left.
All defense.
Hal Gill joins us now on the program, presented by Dunkin', their newest next-gen location at 500 Cool Springs Boulevard. Hal, the All-Star break is over. The Predators, comfortably, it feels like, are probably headed to the playoffs, but it is jumbled up there in the Central Division. I got to be honest with you, this is kind of a weird take as they get down the stretch. Big one with Dallas tomorrow on national TV. I just me, want the Predators to finish fourth in the division because the Pacific teams are nowhere near the Central Division teams, but yet you probably want them to win every game. How do we feel, how it looks as you start to kind of turn the page to the second half of the year?
Yeah, Jared, you're looking for the perfect world. Like, you get the perfect matchup, and you're trying. I agree with you. Yeah, the Pacific is not as strong. I think if you're looking at these teams, it looks like Colorado is the juggernaut, right? You want to avoid them at all costs. But I do. Minnesota, I think, is for real. St. Louis, I just feel like this time of year they're going to buckle down. So those teams are going to be tough. obviously the Preds want to go out and win every game they play, and hopefully, it goes for the best. But there's some pretty good teams. Don't skip by Vegas. I think that's going to be a big team. If they can find a way to relieve some cap space and get Jack Eichel in the lineup, that's going to be a scary team to play against too. So, it's going to be fun down the stretch. I think there's going to be a lot of good hockey and a lot of up and downs with these top 4 teams in the Central. But we'll have to see how this plays out. I think in the end, you just got to focus on playing your game, playing the right way once you do get to the playoffs.
Hal, this is going to sound crazy. I know the trade deadline's not for a little bit, but I kind of think the Predators are fine. Like, I don't really think they need to do anything. And, like, from a depth standpoint, I see them bring up these third and fourth liners from Milwaukee. They're just random guys like Novak or McCarron or whatever. And I'm like, I'd rather just bring these guys up the way that they've done it the last 2 years than try to go out and get somebody or try to package picks out and make an impact. And I just think we've been through the rental thing around here. Last year they went out and got Eric Goodbranson. It did them no good. I think they've got enough depth. I kind of feel like this team is good to go for what they're going to be in the playoffs. What do you think of it?
Well, it's interesting because ultimately David Foyle has got to make the decision to tinker with his team or to stand pat. And I think the hard part is, he's talked about this competitive transition. And so your team goes out and probably does a little bit better and it's come together, and you got guys scoring up and down the lineup, and you say, oh, okay, I like this. Do you want to sacrifice that transition that he's been talking about for a rental player that you don't know is going to pan out? There's a lot of unknowns, and when you have team chemistry, and I do think the Preds are winning in large part due to that chemistry that they have, that they're willing to fight for each other. They can change games around, and they got a good pulse on what makes them effective. If you change it around too much, then you end up maybe shoot yourself in the foot. So I do think there's this team right now as it stands. I like the way their makeup is. So I'd be a little careful to change anything, especially if you're going to give up draft picks and all these young players are making an impact right away. So you don't want to get rid of those guys. My take is that, you have guys like Tomasino and Ellie Tolvanen. I think they're right on the cusp of doing great things, and they've been patient with them. Are they going to have that impact? And maybe that's your player that you're looking for as a playoff standout. You remember in 2017, look at all the names that just jumped off the screen. Like Fiala came out and was fantastic. Colton Sissons kind of had a breakout where he was going, but you had the other guys. Freddie Gaudreau went out and scored big goals, and so you have these guys. And if you're good enough to get to the playoffs, and then you get some skilled players that play the right way, and then they can take you over the top. But I think the foundation is right there for the Preds, so I'd be afraid to tinker with it too much.
How big is tomorrow night's game against Dallas, and what do you think of Dallas?
Dallas, it's tough. I think Dallas, they're a good team, and they've underperformed, but I just don't know if they're ready to make the jump to try to catch up with everyone. They're fighting at it. They're not too far out. It's right there, but it's just I think it's I don't know. I feel like they need to kind of go through that competitive transition as well. I think they have a lot of guys that are good players, and they're just it's not quite there. There's a lot of uncertainty with this team. So I think the Preds, if they can come out, play their road style where they go in physical on the forecheck, I don't think they compete with the Preds. And I think that's the exciting part for me, is that the Preds, if they go out there and play the right way, they can do a lot of good things, and they can win in a tough environment. Coming into Dallas and playing them, they can win those games. And so I think that's the going to be the challenge tomorrow, is playing their game and playing the right way and getting it done.
Are you back on the road, Hal?
We are back on the road. It's amazing. I just struck my bag, and I'm walking around. I grabbed the coffee. It's about 65 degrees here in Dallas. It's like a whole new life.
There you go. Tell us about Duncan, Hal.
Well, yeah, let me tell you about my friends at Duncan. First of all, the newest Duncan Next Gen location is at 500 Cool Springs, but there's locations all around Nashville, and I know, Jared, you love your Valentine's Day, and you're such a romantic that you're probably going to go out and get some brownie batter, some Cupid's Choice donuts, Valentine's takeover. There's a lot going on in regards to Valentine's Day at Dunkin', so I know you're going to go out there and get your sweetheart, something special. But they have all the standards, too. Go out and get yourself an egg sandwich. Chicken biscuits are fantastic. Try the Stroopwafel donut, which is fantastic. There's a lot to go and enjoy at Dunkin', let alone the best coffee in Nashville. So go out there and get your dunks.
There you go. Hal Gill on the road tomorrow night. He'll be on the call. Game will be on TNT. Appreciate you, Hal.
Appreciate you. Love you, Caroline. Have a
Hey,
great
Hal.
night.
Love you too.
Bye.
Hal Gill joining us as always. We're to your phones next. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Another mainly clear sky as we head into the evening hours for tonight as temperatures drop back into the low 30s. On our way to the low 60s heading into Wednesday, we'll keep that sky mainly sunny conditions. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Parman Tractor and Equipment is your one-stop tractor and equipment solution. And Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. Rent or purchase a track loader, mini excavator, large excavators for your job site, or something in between. Parman is now hiring and seeking qualified candidates for construction equipment truck drivers, service technicians, and more. Apply at parmantractor.com or call 615-865-7800. Come be an employee owner with the Parman team, your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. The NFL season all comes down to this: Super Bowl 56 with the Rams and the Bengals. To celebrate, FanDuel Sportsbook is hooking up all customers with a risk-free same-game parlay. New and existing customers can place any same-game parlay on 3 legs or more on the Super Bowl, and if you don't win, FanDuel will refund you. Same-game parlays combine multiple bets from the same game into one wager for bigger payouts. Build your parlay with the spreads, money lines, totals, Super Bowl props, and more. You got to go with Odell Beckham as an anytime touchdown scorer, Van Jefferson over total yards, and Joe Burrow over passing yards. Already have an account? Just place your risk-free same-game parlay before the Super Bowl to qualify. New customers can join today with promo code JGM to get 56-1 odds on either team to win the Super Bowl, so you can turn a $5 bet into $280 cash. Promo code JGM. 21 and older in present Tennessee. Refund issues and all withdrawable site credit expires in 7 days. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline 1-800-89-79.
Welcome to Allstate, where saving on your auto insurance is kind of like a joyride. You, your car, and an open Tennessee road. Maybe your best friend, too. The music is chill, and so is the traffic. You and your friend both look over at each other, and then he puts his head back out the window. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Allstate and affiliates offer products and services subject to availability, terms, and conditions.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good. Really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless. Now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Meshing journalism.
They are 2 scores behind you. The math says that increases your chances of winning.
With sports fandom.
I stayed up till 1:30 in the morning, just emotionally numb from Titans and Packers.
And sarcasm.
You guys are the worst.
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode are Robbie and Rexrode. No duh. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10. Brought to you by Little Guys Movers on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
This is Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
You always liked Michael Jordan, and you had that poster on your wall, kind of your standard. He came back. Muhammad Ali came back. Mike Tyson came back. So inevitably, some quarterback's going to get hurt or not perform at the level, and it's going to start in July in training camp. It's going to go again in September and probably again in October and November. How are you going to entertain those thoughts, and would you ever consider that?
I'm just going to take things as they come.
I think that's the best way to put it. And I don't think anything never, you never say never. And, at the same time, I know that I feel very good about my decision. So I don't know how it feels 6 months from now. It may change. It most likely won't. But, I try to make the best possible decision I can in the moment, which I did this last week. And again, I think it's not looking to, reverse course. I'm definitely not looking to do that. But in the same time, I think you have to be realistic that you never know what challenges there are going to be in life. And again, I love playing. I'm looking forward to doing things other than playing. That's as honest as I can be with you there, Jim.
There you go, Tom Brady. Jim Gray. Tom, you had a Michael Jordan poster on your wall, and you were just, what do you think about returning? Well, Jim, I would never say never, and maybe one day I'll return, and maybe I'm thinking about returning, but maybe not, and not really sure. But if I do return, then I'll return. But if I don't feel like returning, then I won't return.
And
Jim?
I love how he ended that with, that's as honest as I can be.
That's as honest as I can be.
You didn't say anything, Tom.
Tom.
You said something, then you walked it back, and then you said it again, then you walked it back again. But that's as honest as I can be. That's as transparent as I can possibly be by saying nothing.
Do you think Tom Brady returns?
Yes.
Okay, I do too. How many teams down the list are the Titans?
I would say they're probably top 5.
I think they're 2.
Behind San Francisco.
San Francisco 1, Tennessee 2. So for everybody out there, because saw text in the text line, Jared, I saw Kyler Murray going to buy a house here. Like, by the way, I got that report right. Like, there's a reason why it led off everything on ESPN yesterday, because I got it right.
And also, we said so many times over and over again, we understand that Aaron Rodgers building a house in Nashville does not equal quarterback of the Titans.
Well,
but it's an element of a story that makes sense, that makes all the dots connect.
It's like Jim Wyatt's giant rocket shot in his mailbag.
I loved that.
But it was like, is Aaron Rodgers building a house in Franklin? I mean, he could have just said yes, because everybody had confirmed it. And so, like, again, we just reported the news. People get mad at us for reporting the news, and it's like, well, Jared's going down the right. We just reported the news. That's all we did. If Brady comes out, I think Brady's going to return. I think the Titans are number 2 on the list. I think it's San Francisco. I think it's you. And I think you're very distant second, but I think you're second. And if you're second, it means something. And then if Brady decides to come back, most likely that'll be after June 1st, and that's when a Tannehill trade will cut down to $9 million against the cap. Then you can go get Tom Brady. And, oh, my goodness, I would love it. And, oh, my goodness, I might have a heart attack on it. I do, as we played that Brady clip where Brady told you that he wasn't totally convinced he wasn't going to come back. I didn't know Brady had a Michael Jordan poster on his wall. Kind of gets me in my feels.
Pull the heartstrings a little bit.
But again, this is when Jordan retired in 93. And listen to what Jordan said when he retired. And you tell me if he was actually retired. If we can get that.
The word retire means you can do anything you want from this day on. So if I desire to come back and play again, maybe that's what I want to do. Maybe that's the challenge that I may need someday down the road. I'm not going to close that door.
I mean,
he already knew he was coming back.
Maybe.
I'm not sure Brady went that far.
No.
In his butt.
But remember, Jordan went and played baseball. Brady ain't going to go play baseball.
No. But it was along the same lines of, I mean, yeah, this feels like the right decision right now, but also I don't know what the future holds, which leaves a giant question mark. Instead of a period on his career, it leaves a question mark. What's next? Could be football. Could be, one of the millions of his businesses, but it could also be football.
By the way, if I was leading off today, like if I was doing Sirius XM today, I would lead off with comparing Brady yesterday to Jordan. Because when you know how the story ends, like, look, I went to a Nashville Express game at Greer Stadium to watch Jordan on the Birmingham Barons. So, like, there was some time where you didn't know if Jordan was coming back. But I would lead off with that comparison. They always say this, that when a guy's thinking about retirement, then he's already retired. Sometimes it might be the other way, which is if you're trying to be retired, but you're already thinking about coming back.
A week after he retired.
You're coming back.
Not even a week.
And again, I think you're second on the list. Let's go to your phone. 615-737-1025. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Kevin is up next. Thank you for calling the show. Go ahead, Kevin.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm calling in tonight because, Jared, listen, man, it sounds like you're catching a lot of heat. Sounds like they're coming after you, like the Jim White, all these seasoned vets. Keep doing you, baby. I love you want to win, and I love that, and I know you mean it. So I know you want the best for Nashville and the Titans, and so keep reporting what you know, keep reporting what you believe, and just keep bringing that funk. Haters going to hate, all right? Keep your head up.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that. I will say this because I have seen the whining and crying in the text line about, like, you guys keep talking about Aaron Rodgers. If I say anything about Aaron Rodgers, the listenership up every time. I mean, and again, I am not somebody that just plays to the crowd. Like, I'm not somebody who, what's the popular thing to say? Let me say it. I think everybody probably knows that. But, like, you all tell me what to talk about. You don't tell me what to say, but you tell me what to talk about, which is why all day today the topics have been either quarterback, Titans, Robinson and Vrabel, Brady, Robinson and Vrabel, Derrick Henry, quarterbacks with Trevor. Like, that's been the show today.
Mm-hmm.
It's all quarterbacks. It's all Derrick Henry. It's all Robinson and Vrabel. When we talked about that Tim Kelly hire, which everybody's all giddy about, probably not as many people cared as much as they want to talk about Aaron Rodgers.
No, because Aaron Rodgers is fun to talk about. I mean, the top 40 doesn't stop playing Justin Bieber just because people are sick of hearing Justin Bieber's song.
Oh, I know.
You play the hits.
I know. What do we have in the text line?
Daryl texts into the text line and says, a single play, talking about Tannehill versus Henry, where does the fault lie?
Those crazy Titan fans want to blame Derrick Henry.
Which is asinine as well. Daryl says a single play cost the Titans the game against the Bengals. When the running game alone got us to first and goal at the 9, we should have kept running the ball. The interception should have never been possible.
Unbelievable. I think that was actually a quarterback option. Like, I think it was an RPO that if they do a certain thing in the line of scrimmage, then the quarterback has to throw it. And I think Tim Hasselbeck said that Tannehill made the right read. He just made it too obvious, or he did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Look, I'm not smart enough to be able to judge another man's play calling. Like, that's the one thing that I think people have to understand is, like, and Robinson did say this in the Ben Arthur article, you don't know what the play calls are. You don't know what the quarterback's been coached to do. You don't know this stuff. And so I don't ever get too into the weeds about, like, that was a bad play call or that was a good play call or that was a, I don't ever get into that, like, in that regard. So I don't know. We have done 2 days of not talking about the Super Bowl. I just don't think, like, I'm not going to say I don't think people care about the Super Bowl because everybody's going to watch the Super Bowl. I'm just not sure anybody right now cares to talk about the Super Bowl.
I mean, I don't really know how many X's and O's about the Super Bowl I can break down.
But you turn on the TV and it's like, is Jamar Chase better than Jalen Ramsey? And I just don't think anybody, I don't think anyone's having water cooler discussions like that.
And I've heard the debate of, are you taking Burrow and Chase or are you taking Stafford and Cooper Kupp? Debate. I mean, like,
does anybody care about that?
I don't know.
Like, I'm sure we'll be excited for the Super Bowl when we watch
I'm pumped
Super Bowl.
for the Super Bowl.
I'm rooting for the Bengals. Go Bengals. That's it for us. Preds Insiders next. We'll see you tomorrow at 2.